Billy Gill,
Yes.
look at what the cat dragged in.
Oh. Hello.
Hi.
What are you doing here?
Masters Week.
I've never seen a cat drag anything.
You haven't seen them drag dead things into your house?
Did you watch the Lightning series?
Oh, yes.
So Masters Week, you're going to be off Thursday already, I'm assuming.
Yes. Yeah.
It's also off for the par 3 as well. This is his only day.
I saw the other day, I was stunned by this, that VJ Singh withdrew, and I'm like, really? He's still out there doing it?
He is.
VJ! Remember that? That was fun.
You get an exemption, you play that thing.
Yep. You do. Forever. Right. He shouldn't be invited back.
That's a take.
When's the last time he won it? He won it 20 years ago?
Forever a champion.
Yeah.
I know. I'm aware of that. I'm not trying
Got
to
a green coat.
I'm
Dan.
not trying to take it's a green jacket.
It's a green coat. Dan.
But okay, well, who calls it a green
Famously
coat?
not a
Right,
green
it's
coat.
not a
No.
green coat.
No,
Welcome
it's
back.
not.
Green coat. Dan.
But it's not a it's a
Famously the green jacket.
it's not a big like
After you win one, you call it a coat. Okay.
I love you.
Great coat.
I miss
Thank
you
you.
so much.
a coat suggests that he would wear it down to his knees, does it not? If
A
it were
trench coat. Yeah.
if it were a green coat, does it not suggest that it would be twice as long as it actually is?
He won in the year 2000.
So it's been 25 years since VJ Singh won, and when he withdrew, and he was mysterious about it, it was a mysterious bodily injury. I was like, huh, how old is he? And then I went back and looked it up, and I'm like, just early 60s.
Yeah.
Golfers got it pretty good that way. They never get too old. Like, you get old, but you could keep being out there. Arnold Palmer and,
Lee Trevino.
yeah, you could.
Senior tour.
Chichi
Yeah.
Rodriguez is still out there, even though he died a couple of years ago.
Except Tiger.
Yeah, Tiger's the only one that's aging.
He's
man.
struggling with it.
Cody says we should give him a golf cart. It would be so great if Tiger Woods was allowed to simply go around in a golf cart and no one else was.
I feel like even the other pros would agree with that. He makes so much money for the tour. They would be like, okay, fine, only him forever. We don't want to we can't set the standard, but he can have a golf cart.
Is Stugotz back because the stock market crashed?
No, Masters Week.
Okay.
Duh.
We got to get updates from David Sampson. What's happening in a couple of minutes? What's about to happen on NASDAQ? What's about to happen to the stock market today? Where are we headed with this stuff? Is everyone terrified?
I like the NASDAQ buzzword.
S&P.
Showing my business expertise?
Yeah.
Well, that's
you
good.
just set it and forget it, right?
Right. Well,
You can afford to.
Well, what I like about your contribution to that is your only contribution was to notice how little of a contribution I had,
That's right.
not to give me a better conversation or to advance the story at all, just to point out that I used a word, one of the 3 business words I know.
I know. Stock market's now deemed political. I'm just so tired, man. So tired. Tired of all the winning.
Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the walking. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls better tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. We came for one man, forget my peace. You take the west side, take on the east. I'ma put him in the cage, never let out the. Yeah, I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys. Man so tough when mans keep walking, yeah. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls better tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
I cannot wait today to get to all of the things that Stugotz has missed over the last few weeks. One of the things that I missed last week while doing South Beach sessions in California, torpedo bats, just inventing of a new bat. Did you catch that? Which story?
Once I realized baseball had started, yes. I had heard about the torpedo bat story with the Yankees and how well their business is doing, and it's a great story. It is. It's a great story.
You're not going to believe where Buzz Williams is.
What?
He came in here saying, excuse me, that Markelle Fultz is a king, that he learned that. He just did a little bit of research over the last couple of weeks.
Well, last night, yeah.
And there's a lot of that around the league right now, especially as we start ramping up to the playoffs and teams are jockeying for draft position. There are some starting fives out there, hand to God. Like, I maybe know 2 of these names.
All right, well, I don't want to do a form of, I saw this argument last week. Shaq has become a bit of a bitter old grandfather, and he's been for a while. My time is the best time. No one does it as well as I do. But now he is lamenting the state of the sport in a way that is aggressive and daily. And Adam Silver is pointing out, I like the other sports where they seem a little more celebratory, where our media members seem to be enjoying things. But I'm having a hard time off of last night's game talking about what I watched positively. So I'm gonna decline to do that for a moment. I'm gonna ask your guys' help on how to frame last night's game, which was really amateur basketball. And at the end, that is choking. That's what choking looks like. Everything that happened to Houston at the end, they benefited from Duke choking, and then they choked at the very end. But before I do any of that, Nothing Personal's David Sampson is joining us from the aforementioned NASDAQ floor to give us the latest updates 2 minutes and 42 seconds into what has been a calamitous economic time. David, what do you have for us in the way of reporting on what's happened in the last 2 minutes to the American economy?
I am so excited right now. I can barely contain myself because the market is going up, 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 up. Futures, everyone's saying, look, the tariffs, everything's okay. There could be a 90-day pause. China's only got a pair of 2s? What kind of cockamamie comment is that? I beg of you, please, do not now buy into the dip. Do not buy into the flow. It's going to go up. It's going to go down. Why? Because every time Trump says yay, nay, or I'm going to keep going with these tariffs, I'm going to pause them, the market keeps moving. Here's what we don't want and what we have: volatility. We've got so much volatility. We don't know what the heck's going on. So when you open your account and it says green today, but red yesterday, don't worry. Be happy.
I don't feel like he gave us very much information there. Don't worry, be happy.
I'm not going to give you stock picks, Dan.
It's okay, but I feel like I have some LeBron sound here. LeBron is being mocked by everybody on the internet for talking for a while saying nothing. And I feel like that's what just happened in terms of an update from you, that it didn't have any real empirical information in it. It just had a lot of flash paper and jazz
Well, he said
hands.
the futures are up, though. I mean, that's good information,
I know,
right?
we're only 3 minutes in, but let's just listen to LeBron James saying nothing for 40 seconds.
What I did not know or what I did not have, I didn't have enough accumulative hours put in on perfecting the process. Yep. I think that, my process was where it needed to be, or even if I even had enough time for my process to be where it needed to be. Right. Right. And I was understanding and had the ability, as far as my capacity, to understand the process, to unlock the process, and then go after it, and just stay that course.
This is the most relatable LeBron's ever been to me. I've done this so many times in my life. I have no idea what they just asked me. I'm just going to start saying words. Process. We're going to get there. Time
But
spent.
Steve Nash was nodding like a bobblehead the entire time.
What he's
like
paid to do, Dano.
Like he understood.
Like he was fluent in the nothing that LeBron was speaking, or Steve Nash has just been hired to nod.
Stugotz, Brad Marchand's on the Panthers now.
Get out of here.
Yeah, man, that happened.
Wow.
Have they won since?
No.
They won. We had an OT win. There was one. I mean, a lot of guys are out right now. No big games in March.
There are some things locally that I did want to talk about. One of them, because I don't know what you guys talked about last week, but I'm pretty sure you didn't talk about the retirement of Armstead, the Dolphins, Teron Armstead, the left tackle of the Dolphins. And I wanted to ask you guys seriously. He retires at 33 at a time that Puka Nacua is saying, I'm going to try and get to 30 and retire at 30. I think he goes down as one of the best left tackles in the history of the Miami Dolphins. And these things happen so quietly with offensive linemen that nobody ends up caring. He was hurt a lot, but when he played, he made a difference. And when I ask you guys, Dolphin fans, best left tackles ever, Richmond Webb, people make an argument for him for the Hall of Fame. Laramie Tunsil was here briefly. But what's the list look like? Because the idea that someone could give their body to this cause in a way that this guy did, right? He physically fell apart. At the scouting combine, Stugotz, I think he had the fastest time ever for an offensive lineman in the 40-yard dash. He is an extraordinary athlete whose body, he was week to week every time he was playing because his body was falling apart, and you're surprised that chunks of his body didn't just end up on the field. So he quits at 33. But name all the left tackles that you guys were were better than this person. And
Baselli?
No, I'm talking about with the Dolphins.
With the Dolphins?
No, there are plenty of left tackles in the league that are better.
Talking Dolphin tackles.
It is the
John Giesler.
Yes.
I mean, Jake Long was first overall pick, but even he was a bit of a disappointment.
A quick scan of the internet, I'd say Richmond Webb is atop that mountain.
My larger point is a guy can give how many years to a cause and nobody cares, and do it well and have his career just swallowed by the general mediocrity of the Dolphins over that time.
I think because of the injuries and the fact that he wasn't here a long time, that kind of see, Brandon Albert was actually a good player for the Miami Dolphins. He made a Pro Bowl at left tackle, but he was only here for like 2-3 seasons, and I think that Armstead is in that class. Like, oh yeah, he was good when he was around.
The larger point that I'm making, though, is that excellence at that position is very often neglected, and you play hard, damage your body, and then leave, and nobody really cares, notices, celebrates. There is no pageantry involved with the ending of your excellence. It's just over.
Unless you play every snap like Joe Thomas, because I feel like we celebrated that, but that was it. That's the only one we celebrate.
But Joe Thomas was great the entire time and
never missed a snap. That's what it takes.
He was the best player on their team.
How do you want us to celebrate Teron Armstead? Just out of, like, do you build
Statue,
him something, make a day after
right.
him, a parade? Like, what do we do to
I
honor
want to
him?
answer the right way.
Yeah.
Just talking about him. Like just he retires mentioning it.
He had a party, which I found interesting. You don't see that often. A big red carpet party. Mike McDaniel's hair is very curly now. Wow. So I saw that. I saw Drew Brees was there.
Really? Oh, that's
luminaries.
nice.
There were luminaries whose careers have been affected by Teron Armstead. Really one of the greats of the modern era.
I've heard Omar Kelly say that the only people Tyreek Hill listens to and respects on the Dolphins is Armstead and Tua.
Oh, good.
So that's not a good sign.
Well, one of them's still there, though.
We've lost one of them now that he'll listen to.
Right. Yeah. I don't feel like us talking about him is doing enough for
not
him.
enough.
You know, it's you think us talking about him is some sort of tribute?
No.
And you're buying this Puka Nacua stuff? Get out of here. I mean, seriously, Dan. 29 coming off in his prime, coming off a great season. You're telling me that Puka Nacua at the age of 30 is going to turn down a $100 million contract to retire? Don't buy it.
He's not 29. He's 23.
No, but when he's 29, he'll still be in his prime. He'll have a great season. Someone will offer that man $100 million, and he will not retire from the NFL.
I want to retire at 30 is something a 23-year-old says.
It's also a wide receiver in the NFL. Usually at 30, everything falls off. Like, for example, Cooper Kupp, who's one of the greats in Rams history, he just turned 31. Puka's got several years to fall off.
I don't know if you guys have noticed this about the Rams, but it does seem to me, and this one's not empirical, it's just optical, so I may have this wrong. It seems like football is physically harder for their wide receivers than it is for all the other wide receivers who play in that sport. When I watch the way that he and Cooper Kupp play on all downs and the way they block everything, it really seems like their bodies are getting ravaged a little bit faster than everyone else's bodies at that position.
That's a pretty good take. They do ask more of their wide receivers downfield blocking. They put a real emphasis on that in the scouting process.
Someone should look into why everyone hates playing there and why every season there's someone threatening to retire instead of continuing to play for the Rams or coach the Rams or whatever. Oh, they're all full of shit. They're just all trying to get more money. That's what it is.
I mean, Aaron Donald was legit. Although he did draw it out like for a couple seasons.
He did, yes.
Let's go back to David Sampson on the floor of the NASDAQ to find out what other information is happening, because he was very excited in a way that I didn't think it warranted excitement. We are now 11 minutes into this free fall. What's happening now, David?
Oh, there is a lot of activity. If you can see behind me, people are running around like they're betting pork futures. This is all about Mortimer and Lewis figuring out how to get the Duke. And the way to get the Duke is when you see what's happening with your portfolio, when you have an opportunity to get actually back into a position that you panic sold. Don't do it today because it's going to go up, because what you're going to see out of both the Treasury, you're going to see some indication about inflation. You're going to see the possibility of lowered interest rates. You're going to see a lot of excitement meant to boost the market because of what's happened the last few days has made staunch Republicans and people who are in favor of Trump's tariffs say, oh, maybe I'm not because now I'm poor. So what they've got to do is put some wealth back into the 401k, but all of it is such to say it's a process.
Does anyone here get the Mortimer and Lewis reference? He made it last week with somebody, and the people started making fun of him because they thought he was talking about Lewis and Clark, and it wasn't quite that dated a reference. But when he talks about Mortimer and Lewis, you guys know who he's talking about? I know you do, Roy. Do the rest of you know what he's talking about there?
He spoke for 10 seconds on the front end. I didn't understand what was happening.
Okay.
But I was hypnotized by the shirt. Yeah. This is one day that I'm hoping that the stock market tanks just so David can lose his shirt, literally.
Yep.
I was told I had to wear this shirt today. I was told I looked like a car rental salesman. Nothing wrong with that, with my nice Nothing Personal polo. But apparently, our sponsors and loved ones said, no more, you've got to wear the nicer shirt. And so here I am.
Where's the nicer shirt?
That's a nice one.
Who told you? Wait a minute. There are people here bossing you around in your wardrobe? Like, who's told you had to wear anything?
So we do have a wardrobe department, contrary to everything that people may see on your YouTube channel or at Nothing Personal's YouTube channel. And there are people who are sponsors who appreciate what we're doing, and they would like me to have looked a little more professional than my collared, amazing Nothing Personal shirt. So I had no choice but to dive into the well of what I was going to wear tonight for dinner with you, Dan. And so now I'm stuck wearing this all day.
You look like a Foot Locker employee who went to play paintball.
Stugotz, while you were gone, we learned that LeBron left the Heat because Pat Riley took away his cookies.
Get out of here. All he needed was cookies.
Well,
to stay?
Dan counter reported that it was actually ice cream that Pat Riley took away.
Wow. I mean, that's on Riley, right? You got to. It's the best player in the world at the time. He still is. That's pretty amazing.
People were calling for his head.
Wow.
Riley did not take away the cookies or the ice cream.
Says Dan, but Mario Chalmers came out and said that Dan was wrong.
Rio.
Yeah, it's been a big back and forth while you've been gone, Stugotz.
Behind me, you see the celebration, the TikToking celebration of the University of Florida. I believe Dan Dockich said that that's the reason they couldn't be champions, because they spend 20 seconds making a TikTok video. And I really do want help from the group on what it is that I witnessed yesterday, because it was an abomination. It's not just they're missing the first 15 threes. It's not merely that the referees called the game one way in the first half and in the second half decided to call it an entirely different way. It's not that both teams shot 30-something% and that Houston's entire style of play is just throw the ball at the shot clock and go get offensive rebounds, which is really hard to watch. It's not just that Clayton, who's probably the best pro on that floor, didn't do much of anything in the first didn't do anything in the first half of the game, and then at the end is being credited for winning it while going whatever it was 3 for 11 and 1 for 7 from 3, just because you couldn't credit anyone else for winning it, because it was Houston gagging all over itself at the end of the game, and a legendary coach in Kelvin Sampson having nothing for the last two possessions. You cannot, Stugotz, have the champ. That will haunt that program for the rest of time, to have the championship that close and not be able to get a shot at the end, and furthermore, not call any plays going to the rim, like not have anyone around the rim when all you need is 2 to tie. A couple of free throws is all you need. It was just really terrible, but someone's got to win the championship. And Houston had a close one against Purdue, but I think we could all make the argument that Florida, Duke, Houston, roughly the same. You keep throwing them at each other over a course of time, you're going to get results like you got the last time that Houston played Duke and the last time that Houston played Florida. But did you guys enjoy the watching? It just seemed remedial. It seemed like I kept noticing.
It was bad basketball.
But shots just knocking the backboard and not hitting the rim, and it's just terrible basketball.
That's men's college basketball for you. That's been my experience. Granted, I support like a really bad men's basketball team this year, but yeah, it's trapping, lots of trapping, and lots of missed shots. It's not great, but I will say the thing that I'm most impressed about is just the Florida program. As you know, the barometer for greatness is what's happened in my lifetime, and they're tied, I think, for second for most titles in my life. I mean, it's UConn, which is the top of the heap, and then a whole bunch of teams that are in that mix, and it's Florida. Florida's randomly a college basketball blue blood now.
That is fairly amazing when you think about it. A team in Gainesville, Florida is mentioned in the same breath now because they've won 3 national championships, and the only other programs to do that are like UConn, Duke, Kentucky, and Kansas. North Carolina, like think about that. That's who Florida will be mentioned with for the remainder of time.
Nova's
That's crazy.
Nova's, I think, are 3.
They have, in this part of the century, they've basically done the same thing that the Miami Heat have done, where they had the one team with the nuclear capability, with Joakim Noah and Al Horford and Corey Brewer, that won 2 championships, and then it goes a long time, and then they win another championship, and you get over a 25-year period, you get 3 championships. But yesterday's game, and you tell me if you guys felt this. The first thing that I thought about last night was this is the wrong game, but we've already had the best thing that's going to happen in this tournament, which is Duke loses that way. Nothing is going to make the sporting public happier than watching Duke lose that way, leading by 6 with 35 seconds left and somehow not getting to the game that we all wanted to see. Because I think that Florida and Duke would have been a monster number, bigger than last night's game. But then what ends up happening in last night's game that bummed me out is I didn't feel like that was about winning last night. I felt like that was about how Houston lost at the end. Because when you're talking about one shining moment, it's generally not the same kid, Emmanuel Sharp, dribbling the ball off his leg and then not being able to get a shot off and looking fundamentally incompetent at the end of the game, while Calvin Sampson stood and stared stoically and didn't have anything that looked like coaching going on in the last minute of the game.
I was hoping for a better payoff because I didn't really have much interest in watching Florida win a title or potentially win a title, but I did love Saturday. I thought Saturday's Final Four was a great day of sports.
Yes.
And one that sport in particular really needed. Final Fours, they're kind of a mixed bag. And you had back-to-back really captivating games, teams that had win probabilities in the 90 percentile would find a way to blow it. I thought Saturday was a really great day for the sport. I really wish that they followed it up with a captivating championship on the women's side, too. I was hoping that they followed their Final Four with a really dramatic you saw South Carolina go down, but that game was terrible. The championship games did not deliver this year.
You think Dan Dockich will change his stance on TikTok now? And be like, you know what? I was wrong.
No.
Teams can do TikTok
he seems
dances.
like someone who's malleable and open-minded.
It depends on who buys it.
I don't know what you guys are doing here. You had 2 1 seeds in a 2-point game. I mean, that's what you got. I mean, that's what you want out of the finals.
You've heard me say before that because you have a close game doesn't mean that you had a good game. You just had stakes at the end.
But we feel like the best team won, yeah? We had a Final Four that featured 4 1 seeds.
Well, I'll tell you that while watching that game, you say, do I feel like the best team won? And yes, based on what I thought before the game, even though Florida was just a 1-point favorite in the game. But having seen the game, they didn't deserve to win that game. I didn't see proof yesterday that team was better than Houston. They beat Houston, and Houston fell apart at the end, but Houston led that entire game. And when the referees allowed them to play, Houston led by double digits. And then all of a sudden, they started officiating the game totally different. The second half did not allow for the same physicality. When they allowed Houston to be physical, Houston was drowning. Look, Florida's got the best offense in the sport. They had 25 points at the half. They've got the best offense in the sport. I expect them to get into the 80s every time they play.
But those were 2 of the top 6 defensive teams in college basketball this entire season. And you know what I always say, Dan? Defense wins championships. I mean, I don't know what you wanted. You had a 2-point game. It's Florida.
I wanted
It's
good
Houston.
basketball.
It's the game police. Whoop, whoop. Not a good game.
Jesus.
Not a good game.
You're admitting yourself that all these teams were close. We're splitting hairs in a one-game sample. Sometimes the games turn into rock fights. I mean, it's not uncommon for a championship final to be ugly.
I will tell you what it is that disappointed me at the end. Even though we are now paying the players and we're distorting the sport, even though Mike says that he enjoyed the Final Four games, I didn't think it was enough to save the entirety of a bad tournament when you get chalk at the end and very few upsets, and then the last game is a real atrocity that is something with stakes and feels dramatic, but the punctuation of, oh, I felt worse for Emmanuel Sharp than I felt good for anybody on the court. I felt terrible for a kid because the shining moment that I will have from that final is he blew the game in the last 35 seconds because they had 2 possessions in a game that Florida rarely led. Florida had so many chances in that game to take the lead and then didn't. And it's just Houston kept screwing up. And then in the last minute of the game, that wasn't about defense, Stugotz. It wasn't. It was about one guy making bad decisions and there being nothing in the way of a play call or coaching that made it seem like Houston knew what to do in the last 45 seconds of a game in a panic situation.
It's still going to be remembered as Walter Clayton's tournament, I think. I would have liked a better final for him, but when I think back on the tournament, and it wasn't that great of a tournament, but you had the Texas Tech. You had Clayton have the best moments, I think, in that tournament, and I would have loved to have seen him cap it off with a performance in a championship game where you can just point and say that was that kid's time.
He had a nice second half. I mean, he did.
Not really.
He made some plays in the second half.
He's a hero forever.
Stugotz, he averaged 25 points a game in the tournament. And in this game, what was he? Was it 1 for 7 from 3 and 3 for 11 for the game? He made some free throws.
3 of 10.
He made some plays, but yes, he wasn't as bad. Look, I don't want to keep doing this because it makes me the asshole. It does. I'm watching a game and I'm bothered by how bad the basketball is, and that's not the way that you should be celebrating a championship. It's the wrong way to celebrate the end of a season. I know it as it comes out of my mouth.
I'll join you on your side of the fence come NBA postseason time.
Let's go back to David Sampson on the floor of the NASDAQ and find out what's happened 23 minutes into what is a turbulent American and global economy.
We are.
David?
Yeah, I'm right here. We're about 7 minutes from the open, and what you are trying to look for right now is whether or not we'll get any indication of will tariffs be paused? Will China actually not just impose extra tariffs and not stand down to what the U.S. is doing? Will they actually double down with their pair of twos, which is what they say the United States has? Will they double down and stop and hurt the Hollywood industry? Will they hurt the automotive industry? What will they do to make things worse that could drive the exciting futures that are up that in reality will go down? Reality starts in about 6 minutes because futures are not the conversation once the market actually opens. The bell will ring at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time.
I'm glad you said that because I think some in our audience, perhaps even some on our show, are learning that right now.
I'm telling you right now that I thought it had opened at 9.
You don't say.
I just said that.
Really?
All round number.
I was of the opinion.
Dan's like, we're 2 minutes and 40-something seconds into this.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Did you know that the NASDAQ opened at 9:30 and not 9?
It's the stock market. It's a stock market. The NASDAQ, the tech stocks.
Did you know that the stock market opened at 9:30 and not 9 a.m.? It seems like an awkward time to start. Why does it start at 9:30? Why wouldn't you start at either 9 or 10 or 8 for that matter?
You're gonna do you're gonna have your Gators, Cougars takes now for the stock market start time?
It just seems like I had no idea that the stock market opened at 9:30 a.m. The rest of you all knew this? I'm the only one who's ignorant here.
They do a shadow show for 30 minutes.
At 9 o'clock.
Yes, at 9 o'clock.
called
Leading
the
up to
Dow.
9:30.
Just
Then they
audio.
ring the bell. Yeah.
What is it called, Billy?
The Dow.
Thank you.
Yep.
Do you care to give us all of your business expertise here? I'm happy to get whatever the room's got on what it is that's happened the last 4 days. I told Stugotz just before he left, I told him that I had put everything safely away in all of the safest, most cowardly places because I was just just not quite the mattress. That seems less. The mattress honestly seems less safe than government bonds.
It's the first place you would look, right?
I mean, the mattress.
I mean, if I'm searching for your money, I'm going to your mattress.
Is it the first place that you guys would look? If you were going to someone's house and looking for money, is the first place you guys would look under the mattress?
Top shelf of a closet, maybe.
Maybe your wallet.
In a jar.
Underwear sock drawer.
Wherever Mrs. Mueller keeps the peanut butter.
Where would you go looking? Billy, where would you be hiding money if you were hiding money in your house?
Do I have a safe?
That would be a good place to do it, but no, I'm not allowing a safe. You don't have a safe.
Then
That's a giveaway, though.
Yeah, we'll get into my safe. Good luck.
Good luck getting into the safe, right?
I'd probably have a bunch of those like fake Coke cans laying around, right? And then they'd just be in disguise with all the real Coke cans that are laying around, and then you'd never find it.
I have one of those in my fridge.
Really?
Yeah.
What's in it? A gun.
$3.
Oh.
It's just to tip a pizza delivery person.
Why do you need to refrigerate money?
I just like it. It was a good gag gift, and we're not ready to say goodbye to it. You never know when you need a buck.
Thank you for bringing that up because I wanted to ask you guys something. There is a real mystery that I could not figure out while I was in Los Angeles, okay? I got an Airbnb in the hills, and every day, I came out, and for some reason, in the backyard, in the bushes, in the pool, on the floor, a single dollar. Every day that I was out there, a dollar would fall from somewhere and end up in the yard. So much so that when somebody came back, like the gardeners came back, and there was in a jacuzzi, there was a dollar that had been left there. And I kept my eye on the person that was gardening there, and he went in and he got the dollar, and he took it and he put it in his pocket. What do you guys imagine was happening? I couldn't figure out. My guess was that somebody had a bachelor party somewhere and threw 100 singles in the air, and somewhere
and they landed in your Airbnb
every day, 4 days. Please feel free to have a better theory than that. I know that the theme of today is for me to throw something out and you guys to say how wrong I am and to critique it. But if you have a better theory than mine, please present it now, because I couldn't come up with a better theory for how it is that every single day there was a different dollar that was falling from somewhere, and there was no rhyme or reason to where it is that it was falling. And so I didn't have any backstory. I was expecting one of the dollars to have some blood on it.
Well, be a weird bachelor
party.
Was
it the same dollar? Yeah. Like, once the gardener stole your dollar, did you report him?
It was not the same dollar.
I like your theory of there being a bachelor party in the hills and the wind just carrying some of these single dollars to varying homes below. Were there homes on a hill like above yours?
Yeah, there were many.
Mansions?
Homes.
Money trees.
I mean, it was the hills. Come on.
You weren't on the highest hill, huh?
I was not on the highest hill. I was down below where
someone's getting a call.
A receptacle for the dollars. I was down very low. I was infuriated by how low I was in the hills.
But you were getting free money that was falling down from the,
Not enough.
It's trickle-down economics. Yeah.
No better theories. No a suitcase of cash somewhere. I couldn't figure it out. I was also...
Valerie fucking with you?
That was a great... I mean, that'd be a great joke. Just every morning. Have just one attached to a fishing line.
Yeah, was it by the pool?
They were all just single dollar bills, right? What's your tipping point? Is it
maybe
20?
it was a trap to get you to fall in the pool, like a prank. It was Ashton around. Oh, let's see how much money we can get Dan to walk into the pool for.
Because you're at that level of celebrity that, the impractical jokers may have a go.
Well, they've fallen on hard times.
Well, one of them in particular.
Two of them.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Have the impractical jokers fallen on hard times?
Of their own doing.
I feel like everyone right now is falling on hard times because of what is happening with the NASDAQ.
Oh, God.
And we're open.
Mix in an SMP.
And as I'm in the airport, I will tell you this. You've heard me say this before because I don't think there is a bigger issue that actually ends up dividing us more than the fact that day-to-day people are unhappy about the fact that they cannot afford things, and things are harder and harder to afford. I cannot get used to going to the airport, which I know is overpriced in every way, and paying $7 for a bottle of water. Like, it's just, it doesn't register as anything in the realm of sane, even if I could pay for that bottle with the dollars I collected from my backyard in California. $7 for a bottle of water. I don't know where you guys have been most jarred by this.
Dan, I have like one of the worst times in recorded history to have your lease expire on your car. So I've been dealing with that for the last week. It ain't fun. The prices are insane.
What's happened to the iPhone now is people say that tariffs are going to make it so that the iPhone that tariffs can make it so that Apple's business model is in peril because the iPhone will go up to $3,000 or $3,500.
Right. So like I've done a lot of reading up on tariffs, as I'm sure a lot of people have, and why haven't we done these things, and why is a trade deficit good? Because I guess like the conservative talking point of trade deficits are bad. Why do we have a trade deficit? Last month, the trade deficit was at $122 billion. Now, there are some soft comforts of American life, like your iPhone being at a reasonable price. In 2018, there was an article written, why is the iPhone produced in China? Because if it was produced in America, it'd cost you $80,000. There are beautiful soft comforts as other countries try to protect their own industries by implementing a tariff. But just so you know what the math is, we've lost approximately close to $10 trillion in stock market value since the tariffs came out. That is to address a trade deficit that is $122 billion last month. The math ain't necessarily math in here.
David Sampson, nothing personal. You are our business expert. What is going to happen, for example, to the price of iPhones? And when Mike Ryan talks about a car lease expiring, I am reading a lot of reports that cars will go up as much as $15,000 if we keep going the way that we're going.
Yes, buy it. No, buy it. It's up. Apple. No, get it now. It's going to keep going. Hurry up. 10 shares, please. Sorry, are we on?
Yes.
Oh, the market is moving. It's moving fast. We are up over 1,700 points. Wait a minute, 1,200 points. Wait a minute, 1,100. Oh, God, sell. Sell the Apple. Sell it. 10 shares. Sell it. Got it. Do you see how crazy that is to be a day trader? Let's talk about the tariffs. Let's talk about what it means for your iPhone. Here's why people are saying it. Because what companies do when their cost of goods goes up, that means the cost to the consumer goes up. It is not about getting manufacturing jobs back into the U.S. or doing iPhone production or shoe production or all of these things in factories in the U.S., because that's maybe 5, 10, 15, never years from now. What it's about is figuring out how a company is willing to either cut its profit or increase its prices to the point where people will still buy the goods. Mike Ryan's a great example. What is the price at which you will no longer buy the iPhone 17? Is it a $100 increase, a $200 increase? What is the point at which you won't lease another car? My guess is the elasticity of demand for cars and iPhones is a little different than what Trump thinks, and that's why we're going to head into a recession-like environment where people are going to make choices not to buy. Wait to see.
Would you be willing to say that if Apple is in any kind of economic trouble, then so is America?
No. It is impossible to correlate one company. People would have said the same thing about Kodak or about Blockbuster once upon a time. I don't give Apple that power. I don't give Tesla that power. I don't give Bitcoin. I don't give Trump. I don't give anybody that power. The world keeps spinning. The power is in the people. It's in your disposable income. It's in your wallet. It's in your choices. It's in your hand.
David, forgive me because you know far more than I do about this, but Kodak and Blockbuster are not Apple. Never were Apple.
So when you're saying Apple, you're talking about the technology that they have and the addiction that we all have to using their products. If Apple disappeared tomorrow, we would all get Androids. We'd all get Google phones. We would find a way to change. It's all the people who are addicted to BlackBerries and RIM technology. Please don't be surprised at what the human condition is. Yes, I'm addicted, and I mean addicted. But guess what? I would lose this addiction It's like the end of Ed TV. When the show's off the air, life goes on.
I don't think I could ever do Android.
Never say never.
Pay $100,000 to not deal with the green text.
I've been there, man. It's not fun.
Let me try this another way, David, because, again, I am ignorant here, but in talking to bankers and professionals and experts about what is the safest stuff to do that has the least adventure in it, when they talk about the best stocks, the Coca-Colas, the Apples, the Googles, the Netflix, they were talking about like 6 or 7 companies that if they tanked, they were saying then everything has tanked. That there are 6 or 7 companies in America that if all of them end up in the toilet, then we're all in trouble.
Yeah, I think you're being alarmist. I think that if you're looking to your investment profile at your age or my age versus someone who's in their 20s or 30s is different, you're going to have a higher allocation of fixed income. You're going to be in more bonds, which are obviously safer because you don't have the time horizon to take the ups and downs that happen in the short and medium term. But in the long term, if you buy an index fund, which basically maps what the S&P does, you're going to end up better in 20 years than you would if you didn't do that. So, Dan, I would just tell you, you shouldn't be looking at though it's doomsday, it's the end of the world. It just is a self-perpetuating way that leads to depression and angst and anxiety. Instead, why don't you embrace the reality of where we are in the life that you have?
Billy Does Barbados Carnival.
So welcome back, Billy, and I don't know where this particular tension is going to end up. Welcome back. And I also want to get to Mike Ryan. He does not agree with you on Hard Knocks, Chris. He doesn't.
Oh, trust me. We had a whole text exchange last night. I almost drove to his house to fight him.
Yeah, you guys have very wildly disparate opinions on the Oakland Raiders and Hard Knocks. But first, Billy, welcome back. How was your honeymoon?
It was good. Thank you for asking.
Oh, he's tightened up his game now that he's refreshed. Okay, things are
It's
just
so hot today, Dan. I don't know what's going on with the air, but luckily I have this little fan that I bought before a hurricane that I have plugged into my phone, so like it's keeping me nice and cool.
I'm so jealous.
You guys should get these. These things are awesome. Look at it, Dan. You see this thing? Look at this.
Can you please tell me about all the awkward things that happened to you? Did anything weird happen to you in Barbados? Like what kind of, just give me some awkward Billy on his honeymoon stuff. Is there anything that...
The non-awkward would be a much shorter story.
Yeah, I wonder how this is going to go. What's the best you got from your honeymoon? And then we'll move on to other things like Antonio trying to steal your job.
I've had a lot of awkwardness, well, in my entire life, I guess. But recently I've had a bunch of awkwardness. So I'd say from the honeymoon, I think the most memorable thing that we did was, so in Barbados, they have an annual carnival, right? Or carnival or whatever, right? It's called Crop Over. And it's at the end, well, it's actually called Kadooment, but that's a different story.
All right, go sit outside for a second. We'll get back to it.
Whoa!
Antonio, just go sit in his chair. We'll get back to it.
I'm back, baby.
I want to hear the whole story. I just don't understand why you can't even get the name right of Carnival and like
It's Crop Over. That's fun.
Why is it called a honeymoon?
It's a good question.
That is a good question. Put it on the poll, Antonio, now that you've replaced Billy in his chair. Do you know why they call it a honeymoon? Mike, do you have the sound? A very simple sound, a very simple question. Basically, I want you to hear Billy, who has a reputation for yammering and just not being able to get anything out, and he's rusty, because he hasn't been paying attention to the internet for 10 days. So he came in here today, and it was just a furnace blast of news, all of it weird, disorienting. The local hour has gone someplace else.
We showed him Antonio Brown's feet.
Yeah, like he's missed a lot. I'm actually scared when I disappear for my honeymoon. I'm going to come back and I feel like things are just going to be gone. There's the possibility like the shipping container room just floated off into the Atlantic Ocean.
We're still not out of hurricane season.
Yeah, I am going to fall it's very easy to fall very far behind, very fast when it comes to the amount of stimulation and news and sports stuff that you are getting. Billy was off the grid. He comes back. Everything's changed except his inability to say anything quickly. So
Where is White now?
Everything is different. Like you
That's the most efficient you've ever been.
yes. Look at that. Did you learn something on your honeymoon? Okay, so lest you think he has cured his ills of not being efficient, please play for the audience. This is Billy Rusty returning from his honeymoon. Just him simply trying to say where he was.
I've had a lot of awkwardness, well, in my entire life, I guess. But recently I've had a bunch of awkwardness. So I'd say from the honeymoon, I think the most memorable thing that we did was, so in Barbados, they have an annual carnival, right? Or carnival or whatever, right? It's called Crop Over. And it's at the end, well, it's actually called Kadooment, but that's
for
a
the
different
love of
story.
God.
All
right, go sit outside for a second. We'll get back to it.
Whoa!
You would have kept going. You would have given it 20 names if I didn't cut you off and kick you out. You would have given it 20 names. Actually, the roots of the word come from the 1700s and indigenous people.
I was upset you did that to Billy his first day back, but hearing it back, he absolutely deserved it.
Again, yes. I want you to hear again, just Mike, the last part of it, where he's simply trying to say, Billy is simply trying to tell us, this is a very simple transaction. Hey, Billy, where were you? What were you doing? He got snagged and stuck on where were you?
I've had a lot of awkwardness, well, in my entire life, I guess. But recently I've had a bunch of awkwardness. So I'd say from the honeymoon, I think the most memorable thing that we did was, so in Barbados, they have an annual carnival, right? Or carnival or whatever, right? It's called Crop Over. And it's at the end, well, it's actually called Kadooment, but that's a different story.
All right, go sit outside for How do I not get frustrated with that? Like, I missed it for 10 days, but I don't miss it anymore.
Those are important details.
I normally don't hear, but I heard it.
All right, start again then. And real quick, Mike, just the short version. Billy being asked, where were you, Billy, on your honeymoon? This is a simple question. It gets a simple response in most circumstances, unless you're talking to Billy.
So in Barbados, they have an annual carnival, right? Or carnival or whatever, right? It's called Crop Over. And it's at the end, well, it's actually called Kadooment, but that's a different story.
All right, Billy, we've established where you are and what it's called, kind of. Now, proceed.
All right, so this is how it works. Crop Over is like a couple months long, and Kadooment is like the grand finale, and it's like a carnival type thing, and you guys will see from time to time, every once in a while, Rihanna will go back to Barbados, and she'll be like parading in the streets, and it's like Brazilian carnival, basically. So we wanted to do that, which is not something that at all is something that I would probably ever be in my comfort zone, right? You would think me parading.
Well, it's a lack of repressions. It is free, liberated people being themselves. So of course that's the worst place in the world for you to be soaked in fear.
Oh, it gets worse. So to participate in this, you have to sign up with what are called bands, and they have a bunch of different bands that you sign up for. So we found a band, and then I get my costume. You have to pay to get costumes. So I'm going through the streets, and I'm shirtless, and I'm in pink shorts and a cowboy hat and all this fake jewelry that they have on, that it's like massive, like this pendant around my chest and like these arm cuffs. So I'm like going through the streets dressed not in all way that I'd ever be comfortable doing it. And I thought that, you know what, it's like a parade. It'll be like the Three Kings parade that they have in you know, Dade County, and it'll be like a couple blocks, whatever, Thanksgiving Day parade. So when we're in the taxi to get there, I asked the guy, I go, how long is this parade? And he's like, oh, it's 9 to 10 miles. And I'm like, whoa. 9 to 10 miles, like that cannot be right. So I'm like feverishly looking through my phone. Like, I need to find the parade route. I need to know exactly where I'm going through Barbados. I need to know.
You're doing this with like bejeweled and all sorts of fake jewelry.
Oh yeah, dressed like a clown in the back of it. And don't get me started on Barbados taxis because it doesn't cost $20 American to go everywhere. Okay, like I went like 10 blocks. $20 is way too much to go on a taxi 10 blocks. All right.
Once you're in the cab in their territory, they've got you, Bill. It doesn't matter. You're lucky it was only $20.
Put it on the poll. Once you're on the cab in their territory, do they have you?
It's a home game for them.
A bit steep for the amount of travel that we were like 2 miles. $20 seems like a lot, but whatever. So I find out that it's actually a 10K, which is like 6 miles. But either way, I'm not prepared to be walking through the heat dressed like a clown for 6 miles. I haven't walked 6 miles in my life, I don't think. I don't know the last time I did it. And I wasn't wearing my Fitbit, so none of the steps counted. That's the only reason I wear my Fitbit, so my steps count. But if I don't wear my Fitbit, the steps don't count. So it was a total waste of time walking through here. And I was sunburned, obviously. There was lots of
the jewelry. From the jewelry,
oh, if I could show you the burn that I had. Please do. Like,
oh wow!
I had a giant circle here for a little bit. Yeah, there was a big circle here for a little bit. Yeah. Everyone was drinking alcohol, but I was drinking water. I thought I was going to pass out and die on the street.
You were careful and responsible at Carnival.
I had to pee so many times, and you had to pay extra to use the wee-wee card. You know what the wee-wee card is? I didn't. I had to ask, what is the wee-wee card? It was basically this flatbed truck with like 6 or 7 porta potties on the back of it, and you had to just kind of hop on it while it's moving, and then go into the porta potty and then hop out.
That's a heady play, man.
That's wonderful.
That sounds delightful.
Very dangerous. Very dangerous.
Man, you guys talk about some weird time for some ads.
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz is sponsored by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Mike Ryan, for a long time now, has been our expert on noticing when people who are in front of cameras are dyeing their hair or getting fake teeth or doing an assortment of things that are beauty-related that he likes to point out, not judgmentally, just passing along the information. Have you done anything with John Mulaney? Have you accused John Mulaney of any kind of artificial behavior? Because, Mike Ryan, I was told the other day and did not know this, had not suspected it, had not noticed it, that John Mulaney has had a jaw implant, that the internet is clucking about the fact that John Mulaney, who was, I think, plenty boyishly handsome before, has now decided to really make his face marquee jaw implant. What's that face, Billy? What are you doing?
Learn your place, Mulaney. You're not a sex symbol. Like, enough.
Are you sure he's not a sex symbol?
Yeah, he's not supposed to be. I just stay in your lane.
He's forcing it.
Go write your jokes. Be your funny guy. Have that be your appeal. This sex symbol bullshit that he's trying to pull, get out of here, Mulaney, please.
He is married to Olivia Munn.
Yeah, well, he was married to someone else before.
Oh, wow. I think he's had good work done. He looks good.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Is John Mulaney a sex symbol? And also put on the poll, did you know that John Mulaney had a jaw implant? Because I'd be scared to do a jaw implant. I would be scared of things going wrong with a jaw implant. I don't know the details of what kind of cement mix they put in your face in order to do that, but I don't think that's something I would want.
There's some good work being done right now.
What's the implant you'd be least worried about going into?
Hair implant?
Yeah.
Tushy.
Really?
Oh, no. That's
you would not be worried about that?
That's one way to say it.
Just open it, stick stuff in, and
No,
close it.
I don't
You can
know.
cover it up.
It's been risky. Known to be risky.
They do that out here all over South Florida in strange warehouses with like Fix-A-Flat, and
That happened to
people
Pebbles
get
the
sued.
model. Who was someone we got on the show before.
Wasn't she the surgeon?
No, she. Well, yeah, she did.
I think
the procedure
Pebbles the model
herself.
was the one that was injecting cement into people.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
if I remember correctly, Dr. Pebbles the model.
We should catch up with her.
I don't think that's correct.
I don't think we can.
Please look it up. Please find. I don't think Pebbles DeModel was performing surgeries. I think that Pebbles DeModel.
No, I think she was.
Nope. I think Pebbles DeModel had a terrible
Oh,
accident.
good news. Conviction overturned in buttocks injection death. I'm going to read about this.
Okay.
Oh, I have to pay. Never mind.
I'm saying that it's someone who's good at what they do. A backyard anything is not good.
Barbecues are good.
No, unless you know how to barbecue.
Whose jaw? If you could have anyone's jaw throughout the course of history,
Bill
whose
Cowers.
Yep. That was my answer. You stole my answer.
Yeah, we're not going to beat that.
Christopher Reeve.
Really?
He had a good jaw.
Great jaw.
It's a good jaw.
You're right.
Don Shula had a good jaw. Does Jay Leno go from good jaw to too much jaw?
Yeah, too much jaw. Cartoonish. Yeah.
How do you know that he got a new jaw? Do you see scars?
There's
a clear difference.
The width.
Mike said so.
Look at the before. Look at the before
right
and after photo. That's not a natural thing that happens there.
Well, there are I get the IG targeted ads
The width of it.
about the jaw strengtheners.
There's no
don't get those?
there's no disputing that he looks more like a sex symbol in the jaw.
Like working out your jaw?
You guys aren't on that algo?
No.
It's
When do you turn
different
40?
tan. I think
2
that
years?
you should not accuse him of that.
I believe it's known as fact. I don't believe it's something that is just whispered and rumored.
Do you think he got work done, or you just got one of those those balls that you put in your mouth?
What?
And then you chew on them. Nah, come on, get your minds out of the gutter. It looks like a little
A ball gag?
No, not a ball gag.
Bag.
It does kind of look like one with a hole in the middle. You haven't had these IG ads? Oh, you're not fat. You just have a cortisol issue.
Let me put up on the
That's my
screen Jay Leno, where he was seen most recently. The last time we checked in with Jay Leno, he had fallen down a hill in a way that made him purple and swollen. Now let's check in on Jay Leno, who is just evidently riding through the streets of California in a very slow-moving tank. There were people videotaping him, and he was apparently just looking for a parking spot in a very slow-moving tank. It has to be a little bit jarring to be on a normal civilian street, see a tank coming toward you, and then seeing only Jay Leno's head popping out of the tank because he's going 14 miles an hour on a street not meant for that isn't necessarily for tanks.
He was always famous for his car collections, and I think as he's gotten older, he wants to drive them. Like, why just look at them?
Yeah.
I love that he's driving that.
Yeah.
It's hard to find parking.
That
though.
doesn't seem like it would be street legal. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show.
You're going to give that thing a ticket?
Is a tank street legal? How great would it be if he comes out from like the sushi place that he's in? It's
Got
just
a parking ticket
under the gun.
It's just a parking ticket that's stuck
the windshield.
stuck to the gun. Am I being irresponsible here in wondering out loud and irresponsibly whether or not Mulaney has had a jaw implant? Because it seems fairly obvious. I don't think this is a matter of opinion or conjecture. I think this is a fact. This is not his face filling out.
It's not as obvious as the Matt Rife thing, where he definitely had a jaw redone. I mean, the side by side, he could be doing jaw exercises. It is a thing.
No, come on.
And he also could be playing with the photos. You know what you can do on your photos? You can make your jaw square.
That's a good explanation.
He's on live television.
Photos can be doctored that way at
I'll
this
back
point.
Dan up here.
He has a show.
I've looked at John Mulaney lately. I'm like, this guy's had a glow up lately. He looks more and more handsome than he used to
dimples
be.
stay the same, though. I don't know if that would be
his skin is
effective.
super smooth. Like there's something going on there, but I don't think it's bad work, nor do I think it's too much.
His chin in the before is not that small, so it looks like he just maybe got punched in the face, maybe a little swollen.
That's it. He got punched in the face.
Guys, look up for me, please. The villain from Tango and Cash, and his entire jaw.
What a jaw.
Jack Palance?
No, not
No,
Jack.
the other one.
No, wait till they find the villain from Tango and Cash, who, spoiler alert, gets electrocuted when Sylvester Stallone runs away from him on a wet night through some electrical wires.
Mike, he's like Jack Palance's, first soldier. He's like second in charge.
His muscle. His muscle, yeah.
So Pebbles DeModel did not perform the surgeries. Pebbles DeModel was like a middle person who then connected some of these models to the person performing the surgery.
A broker.
A broker of sorts, yes. Pebbles also, for those who are unaware, according to this article, was known as, quote, the girl who got booty, and she claimed that she's, quote, got more booty than Kardashian. And then that's how people would go and find Pebbles, and then Pebbles went and introduced people, and then that person injected silicone, and then in this case, there was respiratory failure as a result of what was injected. And Pebbles was viewed as like an accomplice because this person gave Pebbles $200, which has been disputed.
Hers wasn't the fix-a-flat situation.
No, that was a different one.
Yeah. That was a
and
different...
then if you remember, we had David Ovaya of the Herald come on and tell us about certain, and we're going to get dicey here with language, certain penal surgeries that were happening in warehouses as well that had something to do, I believe, with toothpicks or something, and then that went awry as well. So I would just advise people, I'm not here to give medical advice, but I would go to a medical professional if you're seeking enhancements of some kind, and if it's in a warehouse or a van or, you know, wherever it may be, don't do that.
And I have since seen more photos of John Mulaney beyond just side by side that we have here, and yeah, there's something going on with that jaw. That's not just, you know, working it out. That is some bone structure that has changed.
The ears are still his, though, right? No ear job there.
I don't think the ears. I mean, something might be going on with the hair too.
Yeah, his hair's different.
His hair's different.
Yeah,
hair.
I think he just like touched it up to give it more volume, kind of like a CM Punk
maybe.
situation.
Put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Does South Florida lead America in butt implants?
And the guy you're talking about from Tango and Cash is Robert Zadar. And yeah, that's a big jaw.
He plays the same role in every movie.
Yeah. What else could he play?
I don't think he's had a lot of roles. I think
that role.
But I don't believe that he has parlayed this into great acting fortune and fame.
You guys ever see someone on the way home from a butt implant? I've seen it at the gas station. So, like, they're always, like, in a van, and they take out, like, the seats, and they have to lay on their stomach. They can't sit down. So what you see is, like, you'll see, like, a van door is open, and then you'll see someone that's just, like, laying somewhat elevated on their stomach, almost like a dangling spider, because, yeah, their butt can't touch anything after the butt surgery, so they have to lay down flat, but there's not cars that you can lay down flat on your stomach. So, you know, you have to resolver, as they say here. So you take out the seats in a minivan and you lay things out, and the person's laying on their belly.
Can you guys find for me, please, a video that I saw the other day of physics that I did not know was possible? There's a cyclist that ends up catching a bunch of other pedaling cyclists because of the physics of if you lay flat on your stomach on a bicycle, you will move faster than people who are pedaling if you're going downhill. Like you guys will find this. It'll be easy to find.
You'll also die.
There is that risk. There is that risk. The speed, the video I saw, the person sped past the motorcycle. That's the pace thing. Like sped right past everybody who was pedaling and the vehicle that had a motor because of the aerodynamics of just going down a mountain the way Superman would on a bicycle.
Closing this loop, Robert Zadar has parlayed his big-ass jaw to 124 credits.
Apologize, Dano.
Give me what else he had after Tango and Cash, and I will offer an apology.
He's been in 124 movies since.
I don't think that's what he said, but if it's what he said, I will indeed apologize for my blaspheming.
This looks fun.
And dangerous, though. You would agree, right? You would agree that this is terribly
Everyone else is like, oh, come on.
I mean, he's kicking ass.
All those people are pedaling, and it is what you say is correct, Stugotz. That is a good way to die, and he will also need a jaw implant if he lands the way that he might if he hits just even a rock or a pebble of some sort.
He ain't worried about stopping. No.
Nor will he be able to in any meaningful way.
On your left.
He's catching the lead scooter right now.
How shitty do you feel if you're one of those cyclists working as hard as you were to pedal and this guy just speeds past you because he's figured out the physics of
the motorcycle guy?
This guy's an engine. He has an engine.
Lucy Rodin is going to join us here in a moment to talk about college basketball and March Madness that concludes last night. Billy, what information can we give the people about the thing that we did last night? For a couple of listeners, it was fun to be able to watch a an otherwise terrible game that wasn't very interesting until the last 5 minutes with some people who, one person who won the March Madness tournament and someone else he brought along because he felt like he'd been wronged.
I mean, we could tell him anything we want. We had our prize, one of our 2-part prizes here. Will come down and, join us in studio one day, kind of check things out, meet us in person. But last night we watched the championship game with Will. Mike joined. Jess joined, Amin joined, Samson was there, Dan was there. We had a special guest who popped in at one point in time that David brought along, which was a treat for all of us.
Dan Ugla made an appearance out of
Wow. Trying to cue our video department that has a photo of this.
Is he smoking a heater?
No.
Surprisingly, no. But boy, did we talk about Tarpon Bend. Automatic Slims and Tarpon Bend.
He dominated those in the 2000s.
It was a surprise. We weren't expecting Dan. He seemed very confused by the entire thing. He's like, what's going on here? Are we on somewhere? We're like, no, Dan, we're just kind of hanging out here watching the game.
Look at those teeth.
Oh, yeah, man. He was looking great. He was glowing.
It had to be confusing to him being invited to watch college basketball with us and David Sampson.
What's going on with Dan in this photo?
So he texted me after.
Dan's going on.
And he said, what exactly was that? Because I had just texted and said, hey, can you hurry up and click this link and come on to reward one of our listeners who participated in this great tournament. And then when he gets off the call, he texts, he's like, tell me what that was again? Like, is that public? And I thought that was a legitimate question because I forgot to say whether that was going to be aired. And I told him no. And here we are the next day. And now it's
not airing. It's just,
Well, but you put his picture up.
Well, sorry, Dan.
So now I'm going to have to text him again and say your teeth were on the air.
They're good teeth.
Great jaw.
Great teeth, yeah.
Great teeth.
Too good.
The best that a long-term deal can buy.
Too good. Yeah, he's
Whoa.
right. He's right.
What's that supposed to mean?
He's right.
You got to buy those teeth.
Something's going on there.
While we're talking tournament, I want to finally update the final update of our Toasted Bracket Challenge. Tony won the DK Challenge. Wow. He barely beat out Jess. Tony had Florida winning. It's our Toasted Bracket Challenge, sponsored by Jimmy John's. They're finally here, and they're hot. Try the new toasted sandwich at Jimmy John's. Order one today.
What were your thoughts, the room's thoughts on the game? Because I opened by saying that I wasn't going to do what I ended up doing, which is instead of celebrating a champion, I was jaw-droppingly alarmed by the first 15 three-pointers in that game. It's not just that they were all missed, Stugotz. It's that it felt like all of them were going to hit the shot clock.
Right.
Like it was just people shooting from a distance and not getting anywhere near the rim. But Florida is your champion today, and I don't know, right? They finished the season in their conference tournament, which they won. They finished the season going 5-1 against Auburn, Alabama, and Tennessee, and then win the 6 straight that they have to win. And I think all of us watching were saying Florida and Duke look like the most talented teams out there, look like they have the most pros.
Well, that's the matchup everyone wanted to see in the finals.
Right. And so, but Houston gives you the thing, though. Houston gives you the best thing in that tournament. There was nothing better, nothing, than Duke losing that way. You will find nothing in that tournament that the casual sports fan and the diehard college basketball fan will enjoy more than Duke being denied its first possible championship in more than a decade with a team that we all know to have been better than any since maybe the one that had Zion Williamson and Corey Maggette on it. Or though, wait a minute,
I think Maggette was way before Zion Williamson.
It was Zion Williamson, it was Reddish, and it was Cam Redding, right?
They weren't even the top-ranked team in the tournament.
Yes.
So I don't know what you mean.
We'll say for a tournament that sometimes gives us random results and sometimes really random Final Fours, the last few years here, there's been very little doubt that the best team in the nation has won. Florida was the best team in the best conference all season long. You touted their postseason success within that conference, and then they go into a Final Four with all 1 seeds. This isn't the random Miami FAU Final Four. They go in there and they take care of business. And yeah, while the final was ugly, again, they took out a number 1 seed, leaving little doubt that in one of the toughest conferences, arguably ever, in the history of college basketball, they were the top team there and the cream of the crop.
Zion Williamson played in 2019. Corey Maggette played in 1998, I believe.
Yeah, that's a bad mistake by me. And I think I remember that Zion Williamson was the third biggest high school recruit on that team with Reddish and R.J. Barrett, and I think I made him Redding and Reddish.
But once a Dookie, always a Dookie, So you weren't wrong.
I was pretty wrong. All around pretty wrong.
We lifted you up.
Yeah. We got a 2-point game in the national championship. I don't know what anyone's complaining about.
If it's an ugly game, you at least want it to be a close, captivating game. And I don't know. I fell asleep, but I heard it was good.
If there's a team that would love to play a basketball game without an actual basketball, it's Houston. I'm serious.
Put that on the poll at Le Batard Show. Would Houston prefer to play basketball without using an actual basketball?
They did for the last 10 seconds.
Lucy is with us now. Lucy, thank you for joining us. Your general thoughts, because I am the bad game police today, and everyone's mad at me for being the bad game police. Should I care that it was a terrible game as long as it was a close game?
No, I don't think you should care, and I don't think it was terrible. I think that's just like how Houston plays basketball. They're a very make you lose your will to live type of team. So it was what Houston was, and so for Florida to be able to match their style of play to Houston's, which is insane, I actually thought made it a pretty good game. And the fact that we've kind of gone through this tournament, at least the earlier rounds, with no upsets, a lot of blowouts, even if it's not the prettiest game in the world, and you're talking to an Iowa football fan here, so I'm probably the worst person to ask this question to. It's yay, we finally got a close game, so I don't know why you're complaining.
Are you with Mike on the idea that there is no refuting that Florida was best all or most of the season?
I agree with that 98%. I do think you can make that argument for Duke as well. But I think what plays into that the most is the fact that they were in the SEC, which got, 9 teams in the tournament? More than that? I don't know. The SEC was far away the best conference. You can make the conversation that it was the best conference ever in history this year with how good they were with Auburn, Florida, Tennessee, Alabama. Those are insanely good teams. So I'm fine with that because Florida went through a gauntlet. You win the SEC tournament, you then go and 6 straight in the NCAA tournament. Incredibly impressive from Florida.
What is it that would have brought you to 100% agreement? You said you 98% agree. I've been thinking about this nonstop. When you say that about someone, what was the piece of information that would have brought you to a hundo?
What is your shirt?
What do you mean, what is my shirt?
It's a great
what
question.
What is that shirt? Where did you get that shirt from?
I got it from Robert Graham.
Can you stand up? I'd like to see the rest of it.
Really?
Yeah, that's a crazy shirt.
Dan's in charge here.
It's Dan Flashes. It's I think you should leave.
It is. I think we can all agree that shirt is indeed grim.
Yeah.
That's a crazy shirt. Okay, sorry. What was your question?
I just want to know what it is when people say I 98% agree with you. Because I think then you talked and you were 100% in agreement, but you were scared to say it.
In 99 out of 100 times that game against Houston, Duke probably would have won. Things just went so batshit crazy at the end that it was one of those games where I had to rewind because I was so confused how any of that happened. And I think that you could make the argument with how Duke was playing in the tournament that they were the best team in the country, with the fact that Florida had done, they, obviously got there, but they were doing it closely. Duke was blowing everyone out. So I'm curious how that game would have played out had it been Duke and not Houston, because I think Duke could have beat Florida. And so, but that's just not how the tournament works. You do what Duke did against Houston and you don't deserve to play in the national championship.
Stugotz thinks that Cooper Flagg is overrated.
Well, he is. I don't think Cooper Flagg is a nice player. Cooper Flagg is a good college basketball player. But teams tanking their NBA season to get Cooper Flagg because they think he's going to fix their NBA organization, get out of here. That guy is not good enough. I am not impressed with Cooper Flagg, not from an NBA standpoint. From a college standpoint, he's fine. He's one of the best players in the country. NBA, for me, his game does not translate.
He's the consensus #1 pick.
I don't care.
Have body concerns?
Number one picks have gone wrong before, Dan, and they'll go wrong again. I would say, if you look over the course of time, that more #1 picks haven't worked out than have worked out. How about that?
Do you have him as Leitner?
I have him slightly better than Leitner. Yeah.
He's going to be a really good pro.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Lucy, your thoughts here?
That's a crazy hot take. That's a hot take. Do you know what else is hot? Jimmy John's new toasted sandwich. Off-roading is sponsored by Jimmy John's. They're finally here and they're hot. Try new toasted sandwiches at Jimmy John's. Order one today.
Answer his question, please.
I did. I said it was hot, like Jimmy John's toasted sandwiches.
But this is crazy what he said.
He trained with the USA Select team as a 17-year-old.
He's insanely good. Like, your take is crazy. I think he's able to, he's just so versatile. Like, he could play in the point. He's like one of the better defenders in college basketball. Like, he's just an insanely versatile player and has been electric the whole season. My brother had a similar take to you, which is that Cooper Flagg is as good as he is, but he has to make that last shot. Like, if you're that guy, you got to make that shot, which I kind of agree with. Mm-hmm. But that's crazy. We've been hearing about him forever. And I think he's lived up to every expectation.
You know what's funny about that as analysis, though? And I'm always about process instead of result. So what's funny about that analysis, yes, he's got to make that shot. However, the reason he's going to be a great pro is because he got that shot. Everyone knew that shot was there and he had to be guarded. And the fact that he could get that good a shot in that situation speaks to his skill set.
How about you beat Houston?
Yeah, fair enough.
How about you make it to the finals?
That's right. But
how about you're the best player in the world? You got to that spot, hit the shot. It's your spot. That's your shot. That's what you wanted, and you gagged.
You still have a 40% chance of failure, and that's if you're the best field goal percentage there is. So you're playing the result. It's a
great shot. But it's a terrible shot because he missed it.
No, but that doesn't make it a terrible shot.
But I would say that Stugotz, what he's doing there is exactly the analysis that Lucy's brother gave her, which is
I like him.
Which is
he's a smart kid.
But I do wonder if Stugotz's take is entirely different if he simply makes that shot. I wonder if Stugotz has the same take of he's overrated if he simply makes.
What does he do against Florida though?
So it's just game to game on your analysis?
Always has been, always will be, Dan.
Okay.
Yes.
That's just a fan. That's not an analyst.
Lucy, I will tell you, it was super weird to see UConn as an underdog be a surprise in women's basketball. It was strange to watch. And then even stranger to feel the surprise of, UConn won by 30. That was something they were doing for 2 straight decades, and they won by 30 in the championship game, and I'm surprised by that. Why am I surprised by that?
UConn has not won a national championship since the Obama administration. It's been a long time. It doesn't feel as long just because we always associate UConn with success, with national champions. They were favored to win the game against South Carolina. They were a 7-point favorite-ish, according to our friends at DraftKings. What was shocking to me was just how they beat South Carolina, how dominant they were, considering they weren't hitting threes in the first half. It was just Dawn Staley said, we got punched in the mouth, and that's exactly what happened. That was shocking to me because Dawn Staley doesn't lose like that, and the only other time that I've seen this South Carolina team lose like that was against UConn earlier in the season. I just did not see that happening again, especially after the way that South Carolina played Texas. They were very dominant against Texas. It was just a UConn sort of team of destiny. Everything with AC Flood's injury and Paige Beckers and wrapping up her college career, it was meant to happen like this. And the thing with UConn is I think they should go celebrate. And you know what I think they should do? I think they should go on a trip via Priceline. This is brought to you by Priceline. Are you dreaming about that trip, UConn Huskies? Book it and go to your happy price with Priceline.
I feel like the way that you're doing this is a little bit too overt. I understand that you become a big star and all the sponsors want to be involved
doing what?
With every
what are you talking about?
Sentence that you're involved in. But I do think you're being a little heavy-handed with this.
What?
I want to show you this and ask you what's responsible and what's not responsible about me publicly accusing John Mulaney of getting a jaw implant here.
He got one.
Okay. So,
he got one.
There it is.
All right, but hold on a second. Do I need to have any sort of qualifiers on this? Do I not have to have
ice?
Time to throw away all journalistic credibility and get reckless. Here is something we like to call reckless speculation.
You're good.
David told us yesterday we could say whatever we want whenever we want, and there's no consequences. We don't have to just play that sounder, Dan.
I'm against that sound. I find it irresponsible and a waste of showtime. I'm much more interested to hear Lucy's take, and because I know so many people care about his jaw, that we should keep talking about it. Lucy, is that a fake jaw? Does he look better?
I don't particularly care about his jaw, but he's like very obviously had work done. Like it's very clear that he's had work done, which is fine. Get work done if you want to get work done. I don't care. But when he was at that SNL 50 reunion, he did like a red carpet interview, and I was like, oh my, whoa, that's a new jaw. Like he's gotten implants.
Billy has said, hey, Mulaney, stay in your lane. We don't need you to try and be a sex symbol.
You're Mulaney.
You don't get to be, you're a funny guy. You don't get to be a sex symbol.
Write your jokes.
But I'm looking at that jaw implant, and what I see with the dimples, with the hair, I see a sex symbol.
I think he was like sort of a sex symbol before because he's funny and women like funny men. Like he was definitely a celebrity crush before. I don't think he needed to get the jaw implants. Also, he's married to Olivia Munn. Like you're good. Your life has worked out for you, John Mulaney. But I don't know if you guys want to go see John Mulaney. I don't know if he's touring. I don't know what's up. You can use the Game Time app for shows as well. What time is it? It's Game Time. Download the Game Time app and redeem code Lucy for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply.
This is unfair by us because the one that you're saying he had work done is clearly like his Netflix show cover photo, where a lot of things could have been done to that photo, and the other one's like from a selfie phone, 20 years ago.
Again, I will just state this. I know you guys, I get fooled by the internet all the time, and I know that you're correct when you say anything can be photoshopped. He's live on Netflix every Wednesday. That is not altered. I'm watching a face. He is talking through what looks like a jaw implant.
I think his head is wider. Like, I don't know if it was that he got his jaw implant. I think maybe he had like a cranial restructuring where he like maybe split it down the middle, insert a little bit, because his head entirely looks wider. That then makes his jaw wider. Do a side by side, Lewis, so we can see. I think that his that could explain his hair too. Maybe they did something with his cranium and then they put like a rug on top, cover it up, long straightened hair, curled a little bit at the front, a little Superman type of thing here.
Everything's wider. Billy's so right on this. Look at his neck. His neck in that photo. It's a little wider.
See?
At Le Batard Show.
That's because you put implants in.
At Le Batard Show, would any of you fear a jaw implant? Because just the sound of that seems horrifying to me. Just not having any other information.
You love fear, man.
Put it on the poll as well, at Le Batard Show. Does Dan love fear?
You got a real boner for fear, man.
If there was like a cosmetic surgery, they removed fear, would you do it? If you had the option to remove fear or get fear implants.
What do you do every day?
Would you do fear implants or fear reduction?
Give me more fear.
Need more fear.
He fears that without fear, he's no longer Dan.
Yep.
Why?
I just need it.
It's his fuel.
Just need it. Need it.
Need to be scared.
Fear or pain.
Yeah, one or the other.
Or someone else's pain.
Your travels, Lucy, speaking of someone else's pain, you made your way over to Tampa. How was that experience?
Oh, God.
That city was designed by someone who is very drunk. Everything about it makes no sense. The roads don't make any sense. The buildings don't make any sense. Nothing makes sense. We were there for 4 days, and we were lost for majority of that time. We would get in an elevator and they wouldn't have all the floors. Okay, so we go up the stairs. Well, the stairs doesn't have all the floors, but the stairs has different floors. Okay, when we were in the arena, we ended up like walking through the kitchen just to get to the media space. But no one else was in the kitchen. And then we're driving on the roads and no road makes any sense. And they're all converging in weird different ways. And I just don't understand how Tampa was put together.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju, at Le
Makes me angry.
Batard Show. Was Tampa designed by someone who was drunk? At Le Batard Show.
It was.
With Waze, don't you never get lost? Does anyone get lost anymore?
No, we were using Waze. That's how bad Tampa was. Waze was like, I don't know. Good luck.
Well, this is.
Hope there's not a cop there.
David Sampson has clearly never tried to drive in Hialeah. Like our satellite systems and our technology have no explanation for how it is that roads change into different numbers in Hialeah. Waze cannot. There are certain places. I don't know if Tampa is one of them, but there are certain places that our technology is not going to help you with an electronic map. I don't know what other places are like that.
I drove in Hialeah all the time looking for a ballpark. It's easy to find.
Bona fides.
That's it.
Right.
I was there. Windows up, though, but I was there.
Oh, come on.
No, I just wanted to make sure that I was taking in the environment, the neighborhood.
That's why the windows were
Why
up.
were the windows
What
up?
ballpark were you living?
What are you
It was
saying?
very hot.
Were the doors locked?
It was very hot. Very hot.
Lucy,
Ballparks in Little Havana.
good talking to you. Thank
tried
you,
for Hialeah.
Lucy, for all of your sponsorships and travels. They are rocketing toward stardom. Speaking of sponsorships, I feel like we have failed Boost Mobile with our take line. The telephone number is 305-406-GOTS. That's 4689. 305-486-4689. Chris Cody, you're harumphing back there because
Just, you keep doing this, and I think the audience has brought it. This has been our best execution of involving a sale thing with the audience being funny. I think this has been
Are
great.
you framing
sadness,
it?
yeah.
Are you framing it so we over-deliver? Because we've over-delivered every time. This is a great segment.
I am challenging the audience and all of us to be better. That challenge has not been
Miranda?
met largely. Yes, let's play the boldest take.
The Boost Mobile boldest take from the weekend is presented by Boost Mobile, the newest 5G network in the country.
Miranda?
Hey, this is Will and Honda. My boldest take is that I think referees should only get to look at it once when doing a challenge replay. Look at the video once, make a decision, keep it moving.
Hey, it's Ryan from Omaha. My take is that if your last name is Jones, your first name can be any city, and it sounds super cool. Miami Jones, Omaha Jones, Tokyo Jones.
Hey, this is Danny from San Diego. I got a limited fake Waluigi. Wah! I'll hang up and listen. Thanks.
He's in the paint, Doliac, Doliac, Doliac.
Hello, this is Scott on a car phone. First-time caller, long-time listener, and I was just curious, is it possible that Cooper Flagg's defense can be underrated when every single announcer ever talks about is how Cooper Flagg's defense is underrated?
Dano, I think NBA head coaches should wear suits again. Put some respect back on the profession. Thank you.
Hey guys, in regards to shampoo conditioners 2-in-1, if you got 2-in-1, you don't have any. Man, that sucks.
Like the
He's right.
Take it back. Take back what you guys said before that segment.
I mean, the referee one look is a great idea. It is. I mean, you get one chance to take a look at the replay, and that's it.
Who has a car phone? Anybody? They don't exist anymore.
Well, if your phone is in your car, you've got a car phone.
And everyone does.
It's just your cell phone.
I know.
I have a bold take that if the Florida Gators, 2 previous national champions, weren't just so good, and even for the time, it was pretty wild that those guys decided to run it back because guys were jumping to the league early back then. They're probably going to be remembered as the 3rd best Florida Gators men's basketball team ever, despite having what could be the best resume. Because
in that conference.
Yeah, they won the toughest conference arguably in history, defeated 4 AP top 11 teams in the tourney, 2 number 1 seeds, trailed by 9 points or more in the second half of its last 3 games, still found ways to battle back. They were 5-0 against AP top 5 teams and a 12-0 run to end the season. 10 of those opponents in that 12-0 run were ranked. They were also, coincidentally, the first D1 program to have at least 3 national titles in football and in men's basketball.
Stugotz came in here today saying that Jewish coaches are having a moment.
Well, they are.
3 out of 4 ain't bad.
Golden and Bruce Pearl. I wanted to do top 5 Jewish head coaches of all time. I'm not certain I can get a 5th. Red Holtzman.
So, while I understand...
That's 3, though. You've got
I got 2 to go.
While I understand that the final left something to be desired, they couldn't beat more number 1 seeds in the tournament than they did. And they were pinned as, once the season got going, as that team might be title good. And they just spent the entire season proving that assumption right.
You're saying of the 3 times they've won the national championship, this team will be celebrated the least.
I'm saying because of their unique standing in their own program, because of how famous that core was, because of the success. Look, Corey Brewer, say what you will about him, he had a 50-point game in the NBA. Because of how famous, I guess we'll see what these guys become. But because of their standing within their own program, we're not doing the hot take thing that we probably should be doing, which is this could arguably be considered one of the greatest men's teams of all time.
I think that we should be spending more time talking about how in the quiet and solemn Houston locker room you heard sad sound bites that were interrupted by an intermittently flushing toilet in the background throughout all of the sadness. In an uncomfortable place in the cab? Like, was there any place where you were most uncomfortable wearing that stuff?
In public. I'll show you guys the pictures. I'm not putting them out there because I don't trust the internet and I don't trust these listeners because they'll just embarrass me forever if I show you the pictures. I'll show you guys. It was ridiculous. And by the way, the things that were going on in this parade.
Yeah, sensual.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
I saw things I've never seen before.
Baby.
Juju roast the container.
What are we asking Juju's opinion on? I would defer to him on style matters here. I don't know that he would think that many of us have any style.
He can start with Tony's outfit from yesterday.
I'm going to start with what Dan just said. Yeah, you're exactly correct, big brother. Now one of y'all got no style at all. I seen the video that Jessica Smetana put up yesterday. Zero sauce from everybody in the video except Jessica. She rated herself a 7. I think he was in the 11 at least.
An 11?
My boy Tony, he had a Budweiser.
He was a disaster.
Well, Tony, let's get this out.
At least they took a picture of him. At least he was invited to the.
Yeah,
don't get me started on that.
No, Juju,
10 Americans.
Juju,
10 Americans.
Juju, I asked where you were yesterday.
10.
I didn't understand.
My flight got booked. The hour y'all got finished with that mother. I mean,
Juju.
Good
all right, Juju, that's a scheduling problem that is not personal.
Ain't no scheduling problem when y'all need posts. When I need to post, it get posted. Ain't no scheduling problem then. The scheduling problem get me out the picture. Salute to everybody. I love everybody. I love the picture, man.
Right.
Whatever.
I love you too, man. I love you too, Juju.
I don't love the picture, man. You was okay.
He was just man, it was good. I thought it was
Juju, I appreciate your grievances. I am sorry. You should have been a part of the team photo. That it was an error.
Am I on the team or not, Dan?
You are on the team, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
Get the guy back. Get him back.
Juju, if it makes you feel any better, I'll tell you a story that I've never shared.
No, thank you. Am I on the team or not?
Yes, you were on the team.
Okay.
And you know you're on the team, and this was an error in scheduling. So Tony, though, deserves your wrath, Juju, because
Juju.
Tony,
look, my first week here when I was hired to officially work on the show as no longer an intern, the third day was picture day. And no one told me. And I just sat across the hall in the what was called the bullpen at the time.
Bullpen, yes.
It was basically like a punishment room, and I was just there doing editing things while everybody was having a grand old time taking pictures across the hall, and it stuck with me for damn near 12 years now. So I'm not glad this happened to you, but I just want to let you know, at least you weren't here to watch everyone else have fun, because it's been eating
Juju,
at me.
I had an ulterior motive beyond asking why it is you weren't here for picture day. I wanted you to help me talk about WNBA championship because I didn't have any qualified people in here, myself included, to talk about it. I wanted to talk to you about it, and you were not here for that. So I was expecting you. Our apologies for failing you, but
y'all
still.
Book my ticket here. Y'all book my ticket here, not me.
On the prize. Tony was in picture day wearing shorts, embarrassed and vulnerable when he prides himself as having more style than anyone else around here.
Let me explain to what happened, okay? So there's a
Can't wait to hear this.
No. It's
You showed up at work in your normal
There's
work
literally
outfit.
exactly. So here's the thing. My Slack stopped working at about 8 o'clock.
Oh, stop it.
You could have used a pair of slacks, to be honest.
I don't wear slacks, by the way. No, I haven't worn a slack in a long time.
He doesn't.
The more important piece of this puzzle is my Slack stops working at a certain time. It's a weird bug I have. I don't read anything past 8 o'clock. So when those things were put out, hey, tomorrow's picture day, whatever the notification was, because I didn't get it, I didn't know. So I woke up 6 o'clock in the morning like I do. It's dark. I dress myself in the same outfit I always use. Shorts.
In the dark.
In a hoodie, in the dark, yeah. And I leave. I pull up to the studio. I'm in the garage.
No.
What do you mean no?
I texted you to remind you.
Halfway there, but I was already in the car. So when I get, because you said solo shots in the text, that's a different story. I thought it was just going to be me from the head up. So I get into the garage. All of a sudden, Chris Cody walks out of his car in jeans and no hat. And I'm like, ooh, that's weird. Like, why is Chris in jeans and no hat?
Can you stop for just a second, please? Just slow down, okay? Because you are revving high on defending yourself.
I need to defend myself.
Yes,
it's crazy.
And
The only person that defends myself is me.
You need to speak slowly and clearly so people understand.
Because you were this hour a lot. Give me a break.
Juju, please.
Very defensive.
Laser focus. Before we get to all the explanations for what Tony was dressed as in picture day when it was supposed to be that he has more style than the rest of us, start with him.
Yes, number one, he has more style than the rest of you guys. Unfortunately, he was unprepared, so he gets a 0 on his test.
Wow.
Chris Cody pulled up in jeans, which is a tuxedo for him. So, yeah, just 0. His haircut, salute to my boy haircut, too. I got you back. You know what I mean? Your haircut getting a bad rap. That's a number 3 from the barbershop I go to, Caesar.
Yeah.
I see you, brother. Salute to you. Everybody else. Chris Whittingham yesterday. Too much. Tone it down. Good God Almighty. Fancy that.
Just put a suit on.
You had a whole suit on. It said wear black. You had a white shirt on.
That's his thing.
X.
White.
You had white soles on your shoes, too. Come on,
did,
brother.
Yeah, it was weird. I didn't want to say
Whittingham
anything.
was thrilled for picture day and came in exactly as you would imagine. He
Those
was
are very nice Cole Haan sneakers. I don't know what you're having.
They're very nice Cole Haan sneakers in certain, what is it?
Circles.
Certain circles. In the circles I run with,
Not this
whack.
circle.
Yeah, it's a different circle.
Yeah. He's so
L,
upset right now.
1,000.
He's crushed.
Get him out of
Wearing
here.
a white shirt with a black suit.
Whack.
Look really good.
It's a nice tie.
Square.
I'm not having it.
But you my brother. Salute to Christian Whittingham. He's my real friend.
I'll give it to myself, but doing so, I doth protest.
Doth. Those shoes were doth.
They were white on the bottom, and what is wrong with this? Was your Whittingham? You brought it as strong as you could for picture day, did you not? This was your finest
Is
work.
that your go-to outfit?
No. So what happens is I take a lot of, or I get a lot of credential requests where it's like, please send us a photo. or a headshot. I've been asked for a headshot like a million times. I wanted to have a good one. I want to put a suit on because sometimes they're used in professional settings. And so 2 birds, 1 stone. We have someone coming in. It's sort of on brand for me to come in wearing a suit. And so I decided to wear a suit. I don't know. It's a good looking suit.
In terms of the credential headshot thing, that is true because we do need some of those things. Website too, but we'll get to that later. But part of the thing was when we had that Marlins thing and we needed credentials for everyone, no lie, they sent Hildy and Kristen sent my 7th grade football picture for some reason. So my credential had a 12-year-old on it.
Isn't it because Juju found it somewhere on the internet and gave it to them?
God bless football. But Whittingham, your headshot did not need white soles on your bottom of your feet. So
Too much?
salute to you,
Juju, too much, right?
Yeah. You are the Joker of the photo shoot.
Right.
How about
What,
Roy?
You want to put sneakers on underneath the suit, bend to the will of the common man?
Whoa.
We've gotten rid of dress shoes from the society now.
No, just those. Those were whack.
You wear black
Stacey
dress
Adams.
shoes with a black suit. I'm not going to put brown shoes on a black suit.
No one said wear brown. Exactly. You have to have black.
The white soles is the problem. Yeah.
Amen.
All black Air Force Ones next time for Woody, huh?
Yeah.
That would have been a vibe, though.
Yeah.
Wait, coming soon. Tomorrow, check your under.
That would've been a vibe.
Christmas tree.
Wow.
Cole Haan is what he hit you with. Those are perfectly acceptable. What he was saying is basically to Juju, listen, this is, according to American culture, perfectly acceptable, benign dress shoes to wear, functional, brand name, and Juju saying not enough. You're trying too hard. The white soles.
Well, too much. Yeah.
Don't wear those in any hood that you ever attend with me. You got a street pass with it. I promise it. I promise.
Don't wear
But
them in
Don't wear
Kendall.
them Cole Haans when we pull up.
I think, you know what I think, Juju, and I don't know, you could correct me. I think it was in between. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't committed to the dress shoe and it wasn't committed to the sneakers. It was like a hybrid and it wasn't working.
Not working at all. Highlight keyword not working.
Yeah.
Roy,
Sorry, Whitty. I love you, Whitty.
Roy,
You're my brother.
Roy, what is your assessment on Roy? He was wearing a hat.
Exactly. What is this fedora? Like, what is this fedora that pop up whenever it's time to dress up with Roy?
It's a
You
pork
are my
pie.
brother. Get that fedora the fuck out of here. Down the street. Leave it at the house. Don't pull that fedora out no more.
Yeah.
We done saw it.
It's my
At least
now.
get you a brown one or a black one, brother.
Yeah.
Come on.
It is a black. What?
It's picture day. We done seen it. We done seen that. We done seen that head a couple times.
Yeah.
Sorry, I love you, brother. You my brother.
Yeah.
You feel me? But we grading pictures today. Dan told me to do
He
this to
cleans
you.
it up very well with I love you, brother.
Dan told me to do this to you.
No, and Juju is very honest, as you saw at the beginning here.
Absolutely. No swag is in the room right now.
Yeah.
I'm currently in the room with no swag.
Yeah.
Look at my boy right now. My boy got the biggest pair of jeans.
right.
Look,
All right, Juju.
I love you, Roy.
All right.
I love you.
All right.
Juju,
My
thank
brother.
you. You've still got something.
I'm a dad now.
Cut my mic in. Cut my mic off.
Best F1 minutes with Jessica's material.
Are you tired of waiting on those three dots every time you text?
Hello. Casanova the Ghetto speaking. Hello? Still there?
Only to get ghosted when you're just trying to reach out? Well, we've got a man who loves a long phone call.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Not only that, he hobnobs with celebrities.
Not now, LeBron.
But he's always got time for you.
Yes, Sirski. Hello? What do you need, my friend? My friend? What do you need, my friend? Hot gossip. Do you want to talk life? Do you need some advice?
You want to talk basketball? Relationship advice? Say it with your chest or get it off of your chest.
You can get all that. All you need to do is call Juju now. Call Juju now at 650-585-8669, which spells Juju now. 650. Juju now. If you're in New Hampshire, call Juju now. In Minneapolis, call Juju now. On a plane, call Juju now. 650 Juju now. That's the number. Call now.
Call with your questions. Call with your takes. You want to phone a friend? Well, guess what? I can be that friend.
Hello? Hello?
What are you waiting for, man? What are you waiting for, woman? What are you waiting for, family dog? Call right now.
I want to get to Stugotz's travels. He told us before leaving that he was partaking in Operation Blooming Onion.
Yes.
I don't know what that was exactly. It was going to Australia on a flight that he was complaining about.
Yeah.
All he told me when I told him Sydney, Australia is a place that I could live, he was saying too far away. I do not like flights that are 16 hours. Basically, all he told me about his travels is how little he enjoyed the flight there and the flight back.
I mean, it's a long flight. It's 18 hours. Then you get off in New Zealand, and you wait an hour or so, and then you take a 3-hour bird over to Sydney, Australia. And I got to tell you, Dan, once you've made the flight from the United States to New Zealand or Australia, you laugh at all other flights. I mean, I get on a flight now from L.A. to Miami, I laugh the entire 5 hours. I do. I'm like, ha! 5 hours. Get out of here. I just spent 18 hours on a bird. But Australia is great, and everyone should try to get there once in their lifetime. I know Dan said he wants to live there. I would not live there.
I didn't say I wanted to live there. I'm saying I could.
Said it.
I said I could live there. It's one of the cities that I've been to that are foreign that I could live in.
But why would you say that if you had no interest in it?
Only because having been there are very few places that I visit that I say that of. There are very
Could versus would. Is that the big difference?
Yes. Could versus would.
It's the same.
One of the things that happened to
It's
me.
not the same.
Well, it
Should
kind of
be
is
the
the
same.
same, yes.
No.
It's an odd distinction to make of like, why would I didn't say I would live there.
You literally could live anywhere. You wouldn't just die from living in Raleigh.
I could live there,
Dan
but
would.
I would not live there. Like, which part of this are you guys not understanding? That I could see myself living there, and also I would not live there.
Well, then you can't see yourself living there.
Would you just die?
I mean,
You'd get off the 18 hours and just plots right there.
Shrivel up. Which part of this are you guys not
Well,
understanding?
we're all
Very
confused.
clearly all of
if
it.
it's
Right.
all of us.
you want to live there or not? I mean,
Dango.
No, I don't want to live there, but I could.
Yeah, that's a disconnect for me.
What other places are on this list?
right, yeah.
Of the
Oh,
could
that's
but
a good.
wouldn't?
That's a
Oh,
great
yeah.
question.
Great
See
question.
yourself
Awesome
living
question.
there, but you would never live there.
London.
You could or you would live
You
there.
could see yourself living in London?
I could, but I would not.
That place makes me sad.
What- how-
You have to look right. It's very dangerous.
Are
to
there
live
any
in London.
places you would but couldn't see yourself?
Exactly.
Yeah, the places that you would but couldn't.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Well, I haven't
Chris.
finished the other list yet. I haven't
Oh, good.
finished. I thought you guys wanted more there.
Yeah, but
from
it's
the
going to help
list
us
of
get the whole thing because
places.
I think there's still like a disconnect on the
Costa
gambit.
Rica
Is
is
he
another
going to say,
place.
I would live on Mars?
I couldn't.
But you can't.
Well, I wouldn't either.
That's a good one.
I wouldn't either.
I can't even see myself living on Mars.
Cannot.
Right.
I
But I
would do
wouldn't.
so poorly there.
All people would. It's not inhabitable in any real way, no matter what Elon Musk thinks about what he's going to do to Earth so that him and his 7 friends that are billionaires could live there. Incidentally, by the way, I'm curious about this. In all of the Elon Musk talk that there is, does anyone think it particularly despicable that the world's richest man would make it so difficult for the mothers of his children to get any money from him? Like, in terms of despicable, there's a list of things that we can assign to Elon Musk that are despicable, but women who have had his babies that he therefore, after that, doesn't actually want to give any money, even though money doesn't mean anything to him, given the amount he has?
Do you want a top 10 list of athletes and actors and rich people who don't take care of kids after impregnating women?
Understood, but he's doing this a lot with a lot of women, and
I like that list.
And
There does seem
all
to be
those all those athletes are not as rich as Elon Musk
Well,
is.
what is it? It's over. The number's over 12, right? And occasionally, some of these things spill into social media, and then it's usually an effective move because Elon Musk replies and says to the world and the person tweeting at them or posting at them, I guess that's what it's called these days, exactly how much money he's going to be giving them. Yeah, these NDAs probably got to be pretty fascinating.
I'm a Dick Van Patten guy. I think 8 is enough.
I didn't know where that was going.
8 is enough.
I think he should have stopped at 8. And there's a way you can stop it. You just get snipped, clipped. It's one way you're free to roam the country, which Elon likes
but
to do.
I don't think these are mistakes.
No, he's big on repopulating the.
I think he wants his bloodline out there.
But then
However,
why wouldn't he give money to support the kids?
that part is a bit cruel to me.
Gotta want to earn.
Well, he could, but he wouldn't.
Pull yourself up by the bootstraps.
Teaching him lessons.
He does, but sometimes people aren't satisfied with it. I don't know. It seems as though, from what I've deduced on social media behavior, that he is paying for these children. Sometimes the means in which some of these mothers need to go about doing it are really bad optics.
That's really the point to listen to. Is there's a difference between supporting people. There's like Warren Buffett. He doesn't plan on giving any of his estate to any of his heirs. None of it. You'd think growing up in Warren's house, hey, I got a good shot here. I'm going to be loaded. There's a bunch of rich people who decide that they're going to let their kids do it the hard way, the way they had to do it.
Bill Gates.
So Elon Musk, why can't he just give enough money for them not to live on the street? They could live in a mansion, but they can live in a two-bedroom.
Because it's an asshole's move. That's why. Because you loved these women at one time, and they are the mother of your children.
I think you're making an awfully big assumption there. Like maybe some of them, but like a lot of these appear.
You cared about them enough to procreate with them and have whatever that relationship entails after that, and then you're not willing to do you're willing to pay more in NDAs than you are in child support.
Well, the nature of some of these things seem pretty transactional. Like he is, for whatever reason, really on the train that we got to repopulate the earth. And
he's not a charmer?
No, like I know he was maybe Grimes. There was some romance there, but these NDAs are pretty airtight. But a lot of these, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of romance. It seems like, as far as the public knows, like 3 DMs that we got to see.
But is there romance with Hill, the Dolphins player? Is there romance there when he's having a bunch of kids with a bunch of people?
I can't speak for
Anthony Edwards, I think.
We don't know. We're not there.
Yeah, why do we need romance?
I don't know. With Elon, we have a little bit more.
Whoa. I was not saying romance, first of all. I did mistakenly say love, and in some of these instances, there may not be love. But
You're talking about an obligation?
I'm just talking about if money to you is nothing other than toilet paper, because it's not real. You have more than anyone in the world. I'm guessing that all of these women are not being unspeakably unreasonable about what it is that they think that his child might deserve in terms of support, given that he decided to have that child.
It's disappointing you're making us defend Musk, but I have to at this point, because all of the extortion, all of the examples where people would just ask for amounts that are just not reasonable. Just because you can afford something doesn't mean you should afford something.
So the last 3 that we've known about that have played out in the public space with social media postings, Grimes saying that I don't usually do this, I cannot reach my child, Elon, get a hold of me. They have multiple children. That we'll put that one off to the side. That bubbles up occasionally, but then it dies down. There was a Fox News contributor that went out publicly. Elon never really denied that this was his child. She was posturing after it became known for perhaps more support, and Elon, something to the effect of on social media, said that was granted. And then this one, he actually did not know if this child was his. So that's a bit of a difference between the most recent one. But he said, regardless, I'm giving her something to the tune of $500,000.
It is interesting that David always views things through the prism of how do you protect the money instead of the person.
No, and thank you for putting me in that saddle.
I didn't put you in that saddle. You put that saddle
No,
right on that horse yourself.
You try to make yourself out as this person, except when people try to extort you or try to take something from you, you stand up and you buck like a bronco saying, hey, when did I become the teeth that everyone sucks off?
That is not what I do, and I'm not the world's richest man either. I'm not the world's richest man either.
Second?
And
no.
I do have dollars falling in my backyard wherever it is that I stay.
Only ones, though.
Which part of Costa Rica would you stay in or live in?
The plumbing situation.
Could you see
isn't
yourself
great.
in? Yes.
You got to be careful with the plot of land that you get in Costa Rica. Make sure that they have plumbing.
Yeah.
You can add plumbing.
No, I understand. Well,
it's hard.
The beach side is a lot nicer, too. I could see Dan living there. I could see Dan on the beach side of Costa Rica.
There's a lot of wildlife in the jungle side.
I could see him like on a rainforest, like a giant like treehouse mansion type thing, you know, with an infinity pool.
He could do that, but he wouldn't.
When you have this many children, this many women, and this much money, and so much of the complaint is that you're not taking care of your kids, when it's this many women, it's not 1 or 2. It suggests something that is on the cusp of cruel.
What's the amount? 100 million per kid?
What is the amount if you have a closet filled with toilet paper and somebody needs some toilet paper? The money doesn't mean the money's not real to him, David. It doesn't. The money doesn't matter to him. He's got so much of it that giving it to anybody doesn't cost him anything. It doesn't cost him anything.
Well, I'm just asking for you to give me a number. Should every woman who has a child with him get $200 million? Then everyone who has sex with him but doesn't have a child, that's $50 million because you took the time.
I mean, David, he's talking about supporting kids that he had. I mean, and he has unlimited amounts of cash.
It has nothing to do with the limits of cash. There is an amount of money. I'm simply asking. And you're not willing to give me a number. You say he uses money as toilet paper. Is it $1 billion? Because he's got enough.
Is that what they're asking for, David? Are they asking for $1 billion?
I'll play your game. $5 million a kid.
$5 million a kid.
That seems fair.
That is a very reasonable number. Plus education.
Yeah.
Like just $5 million in a
never
trust
gonna need
that
anything,
grows.
and I'll be here for support.
All
$5
your
million a kid
expenses.
plus college education.
You guys
to Dan's
close.
David, to Dan's point though, he could do that very easily.
How do you know he's not?
That's true.
We don't. I'm trying to play the game. We don't know.
You guys,
we don't know the nature of the agreements.
You guys, Tom Wamsgams on Succession.
That's a real name?
Said that is a real name. Yes, that's the character's name. Tom Wamsgams on Succession says that $5 million is the worst kind of rich to be because you're not. Again, this comes from the most. This comes from the most grotesque.
You're rich, but you're not rich.
Let me finish. Okay. The most grotesque of wealth is looking down on the people who only. The most grotesque of wealth, which is where Elon Musk exists, look down on the people who only have $5 million as the least of the rich people.
Do you?
I do not. Oh. No. But I do think
you don't look down, or you don't have $5 million.
Well, he's looking up at the hills because the money's coming down.
Yeah.
Terrible Airbnb. Outrage.
Do you have any theories as to what those dollars were doing in the pool and the bushes? Do you have any theory as to why dollars were just falling from the mountainside through the clouds?
I believe they were Monopoly dollars.
No, they were real dollars.
Do you know that for sure?
Yes, I do know.
Did you touch them?
Yes, I did.
Did you hold it up to a light?
Yes,
Saw the
I had them.
Did you do the marker thing?
I took them and put them. I did not do the marker thing. I did not hold them up to a light.
So you're not sure?
I am sure they were.
They may have been fakes now, Dan.
I start sweating when that marker comes out.
Oh yeah. I never know. What if I got a fake one by accident?
I'm the same way. Is that a toxic trait? I'm like, well, this might be the time they get me, even though I'm well-intentioned.
No, I've been gotten there by not my counterfeit dollars.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so
what
embarrassing.
Do you say? I've never met anyone.
Somebody took $100 from me in a grocery store because they did all of that stuff, and it wasn't a real $100.
Do they
bill.
have your child?
Or they just fooled me and told me it wasn't.
That's what I would do.
That's what I'm thinking. There's a good marker gag.
You get a job at Publix.
Did they have your child is what you decided was the good joke to use there. That's what you decided.
You wouldn't give them the money?
You decided that was the good joke there. To ask me the question, did they have your child?
It was a callback to Elon.
I'm thank you. That's
well, you didn't answer in David's defense.
Yeah, I tend not to when he or Billy ask those kinds of
what
questions.
What do I have to do with this?
That's your specialty.
Me?
Your specialty is asking a question that you don't actually want to hear the answer to. It's just a question that's a joke for you to enjoy with the audience on how clever you are. It's not something you want an answer for.
I have lots of questions I want to answer for. Like, for example, if you could or would live in London, would you adopt an accent at some point in time?
Oh, there's no doubt. There's no doubt.
I think after like 3 years, you'd have one.
I saw a video of Lindsay Lohan. She had a Middle Eastern accent because she lived out there for 2 years.
When she went over there, it was Lohan. When she was here, it was Lohan. See?
It happened. I went to Australia. I started calling everyone mate. I mean,
it happened to Hilaria.
It happened to Chris Whittingham.
She was Hillary.
But not when you're back. You're done with that.
I stopped. Yeah, I stopped.
Can you tell us about your travels? How did the searching for marijuana go?
Dan, I got to tell you, I missed a good search for marijuana. Because marijuana, it's too easy now. I walk into stores, there are cops there, there are drug-sniffing dogs there. I have no idea why. It's legal. I'm buying marijuana. I go to Zen Leaf in Evanston. I go to all these different places, and it's easy. And I figured Australia would be easy. Bondi Beach, a bunch of surfers, that there would be pot everywhere. There was none. It's not legal there. It's very difficult to get, and I was frustrated because I thought it would be easier until I started my search. And what I missed was this, asking the local bouncers, hey, where can I score a dime bag? Where can I get an eighth? Asking the local surfers if they had any, walking by Surfers Row. They live in vans there on Bondi Beach. They're just waiting for waves, okay? And they're all smoking dope, and it's coming out of their vans. And, I asked a few of them, and they're very greedy with their weed, by the way. They didn't give me any. But I asked. And then I started.
You seem like such a cop, though.
I do.
It's just Pappas going up to all these different groups of
van
surfers.
To van, yes.
Hey, you have any weed?
But here's what happened. I asked a local bouncer, and he told me about this guy, Kiwi. And Kiwi met me in an alley.
Of course.
And I gave him $100, and he gave me some great weed. Dan, it was exciting from this standpoint. I had to look around to see who was watching. If I'm about to get arrested, are there cops here? And I got to tell you, the weed game, the cannabis game has become too easy. I miss going to places like the Tie Door, where I would go to Queens, New York. I would drive 45 minutes. He would open a little slot on his door. He would stick his hand out. His hand had herb in it. I would stick my hand in. My hand had money in it. And I got to tell you, I never saw the guy's face. And it was delightful. And I felt like I was on the cusp of getting arrested. And I missed the rush of scoring marijuana in a place where it's illegal. I'm going back to Australia. I can see myself living there.
Maybe not anymore after this segment.
Yeah, and Kiwi is a good mate. I mean, my best mate.
How good was the quality down under?
It wasn't as good as I thought it would be.
Pencil shavings.
Yeah.
Had it.
But I miss a chase for drugs.
I have not gotten used to, I don't know if the rest of you have been in New York since people are just walking through the street smoking weed. It's disorienting to me. As I don't know when that started. That's the last 5 years. Is that post-pandemic that people in New York are just walking through the streets smoking weed?
Well, the politicians there made it so it's not even a petty crime. You can do whatever you want. You're not going to get stopped. The police were told specifically, let it go. So that was when I was growing up in New York and you went to the park or you got delivered by the chief is how that would work. Not Robert Parrish, but it could have been. Now everything's out in the open.
Never went to the Tie Door, huh?
No. Too scared.
Yeah, if you're staying at a New York hotel, not that I've done this, but I've heard people that have done this, and you type in dispensary, they like pop up like all
everywhere.
over.
Yeah,
like you could walk from every hotel. You can walk to a dispensary.
Oh, but I'm not even talking about that part. That part I've gotten used to in a lot of different places in America. What I haven't gotten used to is just the walking straight through the streets of New York. I got to think that some of the people listening to this are surprised by that a little bit. Just walking around smoking outdoors the way that you would cigarettes.
It's now cigarettes in New York. That's the change.
It is.
But even cigarettes are something that if you're smoking, people will look at you with more judgment now than if you're smoking weed.
You ain't kidding.
It's a bit strange, and I'm not in any way accustomed to it. But you're saying that there are rigidities in Australia, and this tracks for Stugotz.
It's not legal.
He doesn't feel as alive unless the authorities feel like they're closing in. For example, there's another rental car that he's using today that is like the 7,000th rental car that he's used, and I don't know what's going on in his life, even though we've asked him several times on why the rental cars are always different. It's like it's never the same thing. He has been for more than, I'm going to say, years now, just renting cars all the time.
Today's the actual car. I mean, I was gone long enough where my car is finally fixed, so I actually...
Okay, so that's the car?
That's the car,
I don't recognize what is your actual car because it looked like a new rental car because I'm so used to you just driving rental cars all the time.
That's the car for now, mates.
That dealership must hate you. They must despise you.
What, the Audi dealership?
Just like every week, I need another loaner. Buddy,
there.
listen, I know I said last week was the last one,
yes.
but Rachel, Emma, I need another loaner, buddy. I'll pay you next week.
So Mike is questioning my 5. I have an Audi for my wife, and I have one for each kid. So that's 4.
Well,
you said 5.
You're an empty nester right now, so you held on to the cars.
What just happened to the math there?
Unbelievable.
I happen to math, Dan.
Yeah. So what is true? I think you have.
I have 4.
I think you have 3 cars for 4 people.
I have 4 cars for 4 people.
That can't be true, Stugotz. You're always in a rental.
Well, listen, the drive down here, and I regretted it. I mean, the second I got my car and it said 2.5 hours to the Elser Hotel, did I regret my decision. But I am telling you, 95, Dan, is where cars go to die. I'm serious. You drive the amount that I drive on I-95 north and south, you are bringing your car to the shop often. Very often.
So you've decided that your plan is whenever you're in Miami,
extra car.
You have not the 4 Audis, but you get the 5th rental car, and you drive the rental car down and back.
Yes, just on 95.
Do you guys have a good grip on how many cars Stugotz has?
No.
And what is the truth here? Like, what do you guys believe to be the truth here? What? Just take all of the words that Stugotz just spit in the room, run them through your Stugotz is always lying translator, and give back to me what you believe is happening in the Stugotz driveway right now.
I believe they have 4 cars. But I also think that he has a relationship with somebody at that dealership where he is often just going in and getting a loaner. Probably not even having to pay for it.
It's fair. His name's Brett.
Yeah, I
Way
try
to go.
I try to take inventory of them. So from what I gathered, even though he's an empty nester presently, he still has at least one of his daughter's cars, and he uses that occasionally. I guess it's a miles situation. When she's not in town, he drives that here. But often there's a courtesy vehicle decal on the cars too. To which I agree with Chris. He's got some sort of shady deal going.
That sounds plausible. He's been working in radio's crevices to take advantage of things for a long time. And radio and car dealerships have a symbiotic relationship that is of great profit to people like Stugotz.
Love you, Brett. Tell him Stugotz sent you.
So this is it. This is the moment when it happened. Because he's gone this whole career with you. He hasn't yelled out to Audi until today. I think they finally said, dude, you got to mention my name from time to time. This has been a one-way relationship.
I told you guys the last time I came from Los Angeles that I saw a ton of those robots delivering food in a way that was super confusing to me because I just don't understand how any of that happens. But also what I saw in Los Angeles, which seems a little more technologically advanced in this realm than Miami is, a lot of self-driving cars, which I would never get into because of the aforementioned love of fear that I have and
you can't see yourself in one of those?
Adherence to fear. I saw a number of people in cars that weren't being driven by the people in those cars, and that's not something that I think the technology is too dangerous and too primitive at this point to trust it. What are you laughing about, Samson?
I'm laughing because were you in London where you often think that no one's in the driver's seat but they're driving on the other side?
I saw somebody drive that today, right here in South Florida. He's driving a BMW on the right side of the car. I was like, what's going on here?
Or like the wrong side.
My mailman does that.
Would you guys do this? Would you guys?
If I had faith in it.
But that's.
I mean,
but that's.
It sounds
that's
like
my
the
point.
dream. It sounds like the dream, like to hop in a car and not have to worry about talking to anybody. That sounds great.
It's the reality.
The last time I was in LA, my rideshare driver did get into an accident with me in the car. I didn't stick around for the questioning.
Do you feel safer in a car driven by a random Uber stranger in Miami, which can be its own adventure, than you would in a self-driving automated car? Which do you feel safer in?
Self-driving automated
No way.
car.
I want
every
someone
day.
driving my car, taking me where I need to go.
Did you see their driver's results test? Do you see their
I don't
record?
care.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show, please. Which do you feel safer in? A car that someone's driving or a self-driving car? Because I am curious, the people listening to this. Billy, you are the one that most resembles me as a fear-based creature. You would embrace getting into a self-driving car?
No, I was worried. I was worried about the fact that the car would just decide where it is that I need to go, whether I wanted to go there or not. And we were talking about this the other day, how I'd tell the car, take me to McDonald's, they'd take me to LA Fitness, and then I'd get upset that the car was judging my body. Now, guys, Sharks, I have a business proposition to propose to you guys. Maybe Metalark's newest venture, and I'll stand for this because this is a serious one. You guys heard of Waymo? We're kind of talking about it right now. It's like a self-driving type Uber situation, right?
It's got like a propeller on the back. That's what or on the top. I was seeing a lot of these.
Well, those
in
are
Los
helicopters.
Angeles. No, these were not helicopters.
Oh.
These were cars.
Aren't those like sensors and cameras for the self-driving part?
There was something spinning on this vehicle. I did not know what it
Could
was.
have been a satellite.
Maybe. So this is what I'm thinking, and let's keep this hush-hush amongst us. I think if we pick the right cities, we just invest in these self-driving cars, but we rebrand them as ghosts are driving you around town. So you look at haunted cities like New Orleans, Savannah, and you say, ghost tour? How about a driven ghost tour by Edward whatever the 15th, the great Duke of whatever? And it's really just self-driving cars, but we tell people it's ghosts.
The spooky sounds in the car.
$10 billion for 3%.
Please don't
$5
quit
million.
your day
I
job.
know. It's the hardest millionaire to be. I'll take
We
5.
negotiate with some estates, get the rights to Elvis's ghost.
Ooh. Celebrity ghost tours.
Wow.
Michael Ryan Ruiz.
I want a 5% stake.
I believe that you have found a scenario that's even scarier to me than a car that is self-driven.
Well, especially if they died in car accidents. That would be weird.
Ghosts, I think this is not just false advertising and a crime. I also think you've created a scenario where I feel even less safe on the road than all of the scenarios that I presently can feel unsafe on the road about.
When you were flying back from L.A., did you think there was someone flying your plane?
Yes.
You did.
But there's
Do you
not.
know what they were doing in the
I know-
cockpits?
I
They
know.
were watching Adolescence.
Right, but there are 2 of them in there in the
Just in
event.
case.
No, in the event that the machine doesn't work, there are 2 human beings in there. If you want to put
nothing they can
if
do.
you want to put the driver in the trunk of the car and he pops out and drives it right before we get into an accident, there I'd feel safer. But there are pilots on those planes. They're not just self-flying in a way that if something goes wrong, the pilots don't step in. And there are 2 of them. Like even on the smallest plane I've been on, and I've been on some terrifying small planes. They put 2 pilots on there. They put 2 pilots in the event that one of them goes down.
Well, technically, in the self-driving car, there is a driver available should something go wrong. It's you. Just hop to the front seat and take over.
But I don't believe that. I don't.
If Tony was there, he'd drive that car. I'll tell you that right now.
I don't believe that that's actually how that works. That you're going to be able to just grab the steering wheel and drive the car the way a normal car
And
would
you
drive.
have Dan just hopping into the front seat like it's so easy.
While it's hitting a wall
It's a tight
with no
squeeze.
clutch.
I don't think you answered the question though, Bill. You decided to stand up and go off elsewhere and bring ghosts.
I gave you a $1 billion idea.
Yes, but you didn't answer
What
the
was the
question.
question?
Wouldn't have hit the same if he sat.
The amount that you fear or would fear if a car pulled up and was going to take you somewhere and didn't have a driver.
No, I don't like it. They could potentially just choose my destination, lock me in. I go to open it. They have the child lock on all the doors. I can't go in, and then I have to go to the gym and work out.
I think there's a movie coming out or has come out now that is exclusively in a car where someone tries to steal a car and then it's a horror movie and then gets trapped in the car and can't get out of the car. And for 2 hours, there's whatever is a very slow death in the car.
I'm there.
Speaking of movies, incidentally, there were a handful of them I wanted to ask you about because I want to see which one you guys are most excited about in terms of what I've heard over the last 10 days is either going to be remade or is going to be totally new. So here are your choices. David Fincher and Quentin Tarantino are teaming up to do, I believe, a prequel to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So these are 2 monster directors. I don't think 2 directors of this ilk have ever collaborated on a project together.
When you have 2 directors, Dan, you have none.
Okay.
Pass on that.
Tarantino has made his final movie 50 times already.
Thank you.
Enough.
Finally, someone said
Like the Elton
that's
John
not
tour.
true. No, that's not in it. He's got his final movie coming out, and I don't believe this is the final one because now
That's
he's
impossible then. His final movie's never coming out unless he dies.
He's got bills to pay. Young children.
Maybe. David Fincher, for those of you who don't know, that's 7. He's done a lot of great stuff. Roadhouse 2 with Guy Ritchie is going to be made. I assume that Gyllenhaal and Conor McGregor are going to be in that one again. Naked Gun is being rebooted with Liam Neeson.
What a great trailer that
Really?
was. Seth MacFarlane's like the perfect guy for that. I don't know. Did you see the trailer? They made O.J. Simpson canon, which is great.
You didn't want that, Stugotz? You're objecting to that?
I mean, it was good the first time around. It was perfect, dare I say, the first time around.
Well, it wasn't just the first time. That was the second time and the 33rd and the third time. So it's been like 30 years since we've seen a Naked Gun movie. And quite honestly, that entire genre, that spoofy type of genre, has kind of died with that specific type of humor. And it's, it was warm nostalgia.
Airplane, the greatest ever of that genre.
So Liam Neeson replaces Leslie Nielsen. I have trouble with these 2 names the same way I do with Jack Nicholas and Jack Nicholson. Sometimes I was surprised with Liam Neeson as the character to remake Naked Gun. He's been doing nothing but bringing back his children and daughter from icy roads and trains and foreign countries, and now all of a sudden he's going comedy.
Trying to show that range.
And he's about 70, is he not? Like, I don't think of him in any way as a comedic actor. Do you guys?
I mean, it's like what Leslie Nielsen did with Airplane. He was a dramatic actor before he did that movie.
Also in play, Ice Cube has written and will star in Last Friday. He's bringing that back. And also Nobody 2 with Bob Odenkirk, where he is
It's a good movie.
I love Nobody.
Me too.
So which of those are you guys most excited about? You can pick only one, and I give you your choice. Which are you picking?
I went with Nobody because I love Odenkirk, and I miss Better Call Saul.
More than Tarantino and Fincher.
Because I think they have a chance to botch it. Too many people involved.
I read the book that Tarantino put out around Once Upon a Time in Hollywood that really delved into Clint Booth's history, and it was just like uber nerdy. Not at all what he came out as in the movie, where he was like this man's man. He had all sorts of opinions on cinema and all sorts of influences. So I hope that they change it up. I also like that Tarantino was like, this is not a fit for me to direct because, contrary to Stugotz's take, Tarantino is trying to be ultra selective with what will be his final film. He's been rumored to be attached to films, and he's decided, no, that's not going to be my last picture.
I wonder if this even qualifies for him as his last film, because I think it's just for Netflix. And I think people like him and Scorsese don't view movies made for Netflix or the streamers as the same as they would movies that are in theaters.
Scorsese certainly takes a check, and so
They
it
like
cashes
the money.
cashes like the money. No, I think for him, it's, did I write and direct this film? Is it a true written and directed by Quentin Tarantino picture? The story is Tarantino was like, I just don't think this works, but Brad Pitt really loved the script. In fact, it came out in a Deadline story where Deadline reassured everybody it wasn't an April Fool's Day story, that Brad, having worked with David Fincher on movies like Seven and Fight Club, convinced David Fincher to apparently take this project
Let
on.
me ask Sampson this question as a movie fellow, because I'm surprised by his answer, and I'm surprised that he would think that two genius collaborators, that he would just surmise, ego will wreck that, even though both of those guys are almost fundamentally incapable of making an uninteresting movie, the two of them. So why would you assume if they got together and are willing to get together and are willing to challenge themselves with whatever would be a first-time type of collaboration, why would you immediately arrive at thinking that would be failure? And if you are arriving immediately at that being failure, who are you putting together that wouldn't be failure if those two particular people, two of the best there's ever been, working together, you think it's too much ego?
You know what happens when two people have equal footing and they get together and form a partnership and there's no clear person who has final cut, final edit, final decision on shot? Or what happens? You got a problem. And so if you're telling me that Tarantino and Fincher are actually going to have someone in charge,
one of those
the
two
final
thinks
decision,
they're the alpha dog.
and you
They
can't
have final
two
say.
alpha dogs.
Yeah.
It won't work.
Right. When you have two, Dan.
I think you guys are overblowing it. Steven Spielberg has executive produced several big-time directors.
But he doesn't get involved. Executive producer.
Bullshit. There's a great story about a film. I think it was
No, but
Twister,
what-
where it was going over budget, and he just landed on the tarmac and reamed out the director without stepping off the plane.
But
he
Mike,
got
this is-
super involved.
This is co-directing, though.
No, it's not co-directing.
I
David
mean-
Fincher is directing this film. Tarantino just wrote the script.
Fincher
Wait a
thinks
minute.
that.
So that's true romance then. Hold on.
And by the way, Tarantino has co-directed pictures in a sense, in that the Grindhouse film with Robert Rodriguez, he made a film, Robert Rodriguez made a film, and it came out in one standalone release.
You can have people who direct chapters of a film. That happens all the time. I thought what you said, it was like a Coen Brothers situation,
No.
or the Farrelly Brothers situation.
No, Tarantino's...
So Dan,
It's not True Romance, though. This is his it's Once
True
Upon
Romance
a Time
Tarantino wrote,
it's the
but not
prequel.
directed.
It's the prequel to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's
But
Tarantino's
you said to me
movie.
they're both directing.
But it's Tarantino's movie being done by Fincher. It's Tarantino giving over his baby to a director that he considers someone he doesn't consider many close to his equal. This is one he considers. It's basically him and Paul Thomas Anderson that he looks at and says, these people are my equal.
But when Fincher does something with the movie that Tarantino doesn't like, what's going to happen then? What do you think? What do you imagine would happen then?
Sounds like Tarantino could make this film, but wouldn't.
The one time that Tarantino did this, as you mentioned, with Rodriguez, it was a disaster. It's the worst thing on Tarantino's resume.
There was Planet Terror and Death Proof that together. I actually didn't mind Death Proof.
Well, you don't have to mind it. It's widely regarded as the worst thing Tarantino has made, and there's not a lot of bad stuff that Tarantino has made, but that would be the least popular of all of the things that Tarantino has been involved in.
Does that count? I don't even think that counts in his.
This guy, what counts and what doesn't count? It seems like if it's good, it counts. If it's bad, it doesn't.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Is it on his IMDb page? And is it there under director? Because they put it in a category. Did he direct it or not?
You're making a distinction. I will have to look up and do more reporting on this. You're making a distinction that I don't think is relevant, because if Tarantino has written something that he is then going to put out into the world, I don't think he's going to be hands off about letting someone else do that without any opinions given, no matter how much he trusts that person. I'm assuming that these two people are collaborating on something, and I'm surprised by your appraisal that they cannot do it successfully when both of them are choosing it out of admiration for each other.
You can collaborate, but someone has to have the final say.
I'll be curious to see how Tarantino's ego has aged with time, because it's not the first time that he's written a script, and another director has done it. Tony Scott, he did some work on Crimson Tide. Other directors,
True Romance as well, but this one is different just because it's his. This is a prequel to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. This is something that he has already curated, taken care of. What are you making faces about?
It's going to fail. If there's no set person in charge, if they're tied, what are they? Who's going to break the tie?
Goes to the runner.
Well, I think Brad Pitt. by the story on it that I read, it seems as though this is Tarantino giving this project over to Brad Pitt, and Brad Pitt convinced David Fincher. I'm not really sure what the connection points are between Fincher and Tarantino. I'm sure there are some, being that they were in Hollywood excelling at a high rate, but this is really a Brad Pitt thing.
Dan said that the collaboration is it's the only one he respects. Tarantino along with PTA. That's it. That's all he'd work with.
It's the highest.
It's not going to happen.
All right.
I'm with David. Clash of the Titans, Dan.
That's a different movie.
Oh, sorry.